timers and tell me, you know what, in 5 minutes we're about to start the presentation. So that's just something if you wanna, if you're taking down notes and you wanna be on top of your students and you wanna be on top of your game when you're in the classroom. Definitely little things just to look at as you're doing this. Now, before we even jump into the presentation, who I am, what am I doing here, who is this guy that's in front of us, we are going to do some little introductions in a while, but I want to jump in by saying all these little things before I get to who I am and so forth. But why would I want to use a timer in the classroom? As soon as I start the classroom, why do I want to use a timer? Time management. What else?
Attention.
To bring in the students' attention, like, man, the time is running, I gotta get to work. What else?
Get the students engaged.
Huh?
Get the students engaged.
To get the students engaged. Okay. More?
To be on track of their work.
Huh? To be
To be
on track and on top of the work?
Yes.
Yes,
A
very good.
sense of urgency.
A sense of urgency. As an educator, if I have an mirror in front of me, and then hey, I'm using technology. Back then, teachers had to say, or the administrators would say, the teachers would say, well, no use of technology in the classroom, and the teacher would say, well, I'm using the projector. The projector's not anymore suffice. If you're doing the T-test, now they're gonna see that you guys are using the technology in the classroom when you're collaborating and how you're collaborating with your students. Just remember that when administrators go into your classroom, they're not looking at what you're doing. Who are they looking at? They're looking at what the students are doing. Okay? So just to throw a lot of things out there for you, the number one reason you would want to always start using a timer in your classroom is because what is time from here on? There's something that they take that is time. The STAR exam, right? The STAR exam is time. So at the very beginning of the school year, if you start using the timer, that way students, when they take the STAR exam, they don't freeze and say, whoa, we never did this in class. The teacher never put a timer where we were timed. And now they only have 3 hours or 2 hours to finish the exam, they're gonna be pressured. And if we don't teach them as educators that, hey, you have 5 minutes to do the first 5 minutes of class, we're gonna start the next lesson, that's gonna be another 10 minutes, and then another 15 minutes. And they're always timed. When they do the STAR, oh, I have 2 hours, I'm timed, I'm used to this. I'm not gonna freeze up or shut down during the test, okay? Just throwing it up. All right. So this is the class for technology resources. And of course, we're gonna be using technology throughout the entire presentation. If you didn't bring your laptop today, make sure that you bring it next time. I think the next meeting is on Monday. Make sure you have your laptop and it's fully charged and you're ready to go Monday. For those of you who don't have your laptop, use your phone and download that app that is called Nearpod. Here's the little symbol. And once you're there, it's gonna ask you to join a session. And then you wanna join the session by entering the code that we'll be using today, okay? The code that we'll be using is up here. So what I want you to do right now is either take a snapshot of it or write it down somewhere. Because if by any chance or it kicks you out, or I go to another website and I kick everybody out by accident, and then everybody can join back in by using this session number or code right here, okay? So write it down. I'll give you a couple of seconds to write it down or take a snapshot. If you're in Laredo, I think they've already sent it to you. So write it down in case you get kicked out, you can go back in. Okay, so I'll give you a couple of seconds.
Sir, we're not meeting on Friday.
Sorry, huh?
We're not meeting on Friday.
I wouldn't know that answer. We'll have a question for you, huh?
Monday is when you're meeting them.
On Monday.
But we're meeting Friday, it's a different class.
Mhm.
With him, it's a human.
I'm saying for technology
Yeah,
applications.
technology, because he's doing applications.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
For teachers,
yeah.
whoever.
For the technology apps, I'm pretty sure I think it's on Monday.
Yes.
Yes. The regular classroom that you guys do on every day, it's something else. You're like, yes, I'm off for the weekend. And you're gonna blame me, right?
Yep.
That's why you were asking me and not him.
Yeah.
Okay. So, raise your hand if everybody's in, because I need to make sure that everyone is in and we're all on the same page. If you're not in, let me know so I can walk over, or the person next to you can help you, because they're already logged in. Okay? All right, so go to nearpod.com. While they're going to nearpod.com, has anybody in here, you've already done the activity, you played with Nearpod in some form? I was looking at your links. Some of you sent the right links. Some of you sent me a link that sent me to somewhere else. So we'll be able to go through the links and we'll be able to see what went wrong, okay? I want you to keep in mind that where you're doing an assignment like this and you're unsure if the link is gonna work or not, what do? You test it, okay? So way before anybody in here would send the link to me, you would have what? Tested it, okay? So make sure if that's something you want your students to do in the classroom, and then that's something that you're definitely gonna do as yourself and educators. You trial and error, and before you even submit something, you gotta test it if it works. Other than that, you know, we're looking at something and then it's taking us somewhere else, and we're like, okay, figuring out what happened, okay? I understand it's a learning process, but as educators, we have to trial and error until it gets right, okay? Same thing we're gonna ask for our students, right? In the classroom. All right, so is anybody not in? I wanna make sure we're all in. As I go through the presentation, I'm gonna share tips and tricks that I use as an educator. And the only reason that I'm gonna do this is so that you pick up on it and you make them your own. You can either use them as I did, or you use your creativity and you use it however you want to use it in the classroom. What was the very first tip that I showed you when we started? The timer, right? If an administrator walks in and you want to see that you're using technology, bring up that timer, and students, you have 5 minutes for the first 5 minutes. 5 minutes of class. This is what you're gonna do, and you have the timer running, right? Just little tips there. Okay. Also, if for a presentation, like for example that I'm doing right now, I'm asking everybody to go to Nearpod. I'm doing the conversation. I haven't yet introduced myself. That's also another tip and tricks that I like to show, and that's basically, why do you think that's happening right now? You're like, who is this guy? What's his name? So forth. What do you think is happening here? You see if you can tell me. What's happening right now to my left? Let's all look to the left. I'm just kidding. There's still people coming in, right? There's still people coming in. Are you gonna have students that are gonna arrive tardy to your classroom?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you gonna be on top of them all the time? Or are you gonna waste instruction? And the last thing you want is to waste instruction in the classroom. Something like this, having to do the first 5 minutes of class, this is what's gonna, the timer is up there, there's no instruction going on, but somebody's trying to do some activity that's in the board. There's a timer running, whatever the case is, students are walking in. This is not a classroom management training, but little by little, I'll give you little tips on classroom management also. I'll try not to turn it into a classroom management training here, okay? So we're looking at all the technology that I have up here. The very first one that we're gonna go through is we're gonna sign in digitally. So everyone in here, if you haven't downloaded the Nearpod app, make sure you do on your cell phone. If you haven't written that little code in, let me know if you haven't, so that way I don't throw anybody off. Has anybody not written down this code? Okay, Loretta, I know they were sent to, so I don't have to worry about that. All right, we're gonna sign in digitally. We're gonna have a digital parking lot. That means that, I don't know, I should bring little stickies so I can know everybody's names, but what's your name? Your last name, or?
Yvette.
Yvette. If I know that Yvette is a bilingual ESL student, or I know Yvette has an IEP, and I know Yvette is not gonna participate in my class as much as I try to, and as much as I do a lot of collaboration and activities, and I'm doing all these crazy things, and Yvette doesn't wanna participate. I know the stages, and then we'll go over the stages of the students. I know that Yvette is probably in the silent period of that stage. In other words, all she does all day is stare at me. Not because, my eyes, no. She stares at me because when students are on that stage, they're actually learning. They're actually picking up your movements on your what you're trying to say on your lips, your body movements, your everything that you do. They're picking up. They're anticipating every move that you do. And this is why I do a parking lot. Okay. A lot of questions pop up in Yvette's mind that maybe the students didn't ask while I was there and during that hour. And then Yvette can go back to my classroom website, go to the digital parking lot, grab a little sticky note, put it in there, and ask whatever she had in her mind. Or express whatever she has in her mind. And said, Mr. Granado, could you explain this just a little bit more? Can you, etc. And she'll be asking those questions. I would always go back to my classroom website. I would look at the digital parking lot. There was always a question there. A student always had something to say because they were way in the back, and if, for language reasons, FED reasons, IEP reasons, whatever the case is. Okay, so integrating technology into the curriculum is going to be crazy for you, and I'll explain just a little bit more on that when we get there. You can access the PowerPoint. You already have access to the PowerPoint, is that right? You already went through it and browsed a little bit on it. So you have access to it at any point you want, okay? Let me see what's next before, let's do this one. So let's go ahead and sign in. Right in front of you, you have a form that you can start filling out. So fill it out, submit it. I'll give you about a whole minute. Laredo, the same thing. Start filling out this form. If you haven't, who are right now?
Me.
You have your cell phone, and then you can download the app called Nearpod. If you don't have that app, please let me know so I can help you get to it.
For district, you just want A7.
But if you're not teaching at this point, you can put NA. Is it a drop down or is it just a type in?
It's a type.
Yeah, just put that none, or I don't know if it's required. Does it have a little red?
It says optional.
Yeah, if you're not teaching it, then you don't have a district yet. So you don't have to put A still. I'll automatically know you're from A still. We'll be giving away $10,000 worth of VRs today. Así ponen atención. Para los que llegaron dormidos. I'm just kidding, we're not. Everybody should be done about now, yes? No? Raise your hand if you're done. So 50-50? Okay, so I'll give you a couple more seconds. So who just came in? What's your last name, your first name?
Jessica.
Everybody stood up and expressed themselves and introduced themselves, so I guess you're the final one, so go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Jessica Encina. What do I say? What do we explain about ourselves?
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm working on my certification to teach English middle school. I'm a substitute at the moment. That's why I was late. I rewarded myself a little nap on my own. And
Really, they just let student outs right now?
No.
Oh, I thought you were something
No, I'm
special.
having
Sure,
those
reward yourself.
specials, so
What school you're at?
fine, and
So you were subbing, and then
yes.
that was over and you came over here?
No.
Oh.
I said I rewarded myself with a little nap.
¿Cómo la ves?
But
Oh my God, sit down. I'm just kidding.
Nice
We're
to
playing.
meet you.
Nice to meet you. So when students come late to your classroom, I said, sir, I was asleep, I woke up late, is everything gonna be okay, fine and dandy? Now we're gonna pick, what was your name? We can pick on you all day. Jessica. So, all right, so everybody should be done by now? Yes? All right. Jessica, did you have your laptop or your phone? Your phone. Okay, somebody there on the table, show her how to get to nearpod.com and how to download it into the phone. You've already written down the pin, so just give her the pin number, Okay? All right. Very, very, very important. Did you guys already went through the classroom management training part?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure. So that way I don't want to say anything that's not out of the ordinary here and you're going to be like, what? Okay. All right. All right, so what happened here? I introduced technology resources. I did Nearpod. I used Google Forms. Who in here does not have a Gmail account? Raise your hand. One. You better get one starting today.
I have one, I just don't know the password to it, I never use it.
Find the password. If not, you're gonna die. You already teaching in the classroom?
No.
Hey, get the Gmail account, okay? If you have a Gmail account, that means you have access to storage online with Google. That means that you can create forms with Google. The form that you submitted or filled out right now was done with Google Forms, only because of that Gmail account. Every single resource that I'm gonna show you today are resources that I've been using for over 9 years. So that means that the resources function. Now, that's just an opinion. I've been using it through middle school, through high school, elementary, and now with professional developments. They all work because I've been using them for over 9 years, okay? Now the number one thing about it is that they're all free. I haven't had to pay for any of this, okay? Now, like anything else, if you want to upgrade, you can always upgrade and get a better version of something, right? But for what we do in the classroom, for what we need to function in the classroom with the students, none of the ones that I'm going to present to you, you really need to upgrade, unless you want to go above and beyond and you want to. So all I did was created a Google form. I always do an inventory of my students, and that's something that you have to learn right at the beginning. It's the UPR. What does UPR stand for? That's your unconditional positive regard. In other words, giving the student the time of day, knowing who the students you have in front of you, who they are, who's the SPED, who's the ELL, who has the IEPs, who are the GTs, who are the PAPs. So you have to know all this. But inventory like this will save your life for those students who want to stop instruction in the classroom. For those students who are saying, you know what, today, while the teacher is teaching, I'm gonna say, this is boring. I hate this class. Jessica? Yes, sir, way? Oh, there you are. Hey, don't be moving from, you're late, you move from this to this.
But you forget that I was late.
Jessica, this is not boring. I spent 3 hours last night preparing for this lesson. Guess what happened there?
A lack of time management.
She's trying to stop instruction. Now we're going back and forth. And not only are you fighting with Jessica, but who else am I fighting with? Even though I'm only fighting with Jessica.
Time.
25 other students are watching this happen. And instruction is that we're doing the dance. They call it the dance. We're going back and forth. Okay? How do I stop? I'll pick on Jessica, and who was the other one I picked on a while ago? What's your first name? Yvette. I'll pick on them too for a while. But if I want to make sure that, let me scroll, because you see, I was gonna go like this, I was gonna try to scroll. That's your digital immigrants at work. But right now that I did it, I remember something. Did you guys look at the news 2 days ago? Did you guys see the news 2 days ago in CNN that they gave the child a Game Boy? Did you see that? Oh my God, they gave the child this big. I'm thinking 4 years old. Did you see that year? 4 years old, 2 years old? I don't even know, but she was this big. They gave her a Game Boy, and she had the Game Boy. The buttons were over here in the bottom, and she was touching the screen. And they left her there, and she never figured out how to use the Game Boy. She had no idea that she needed to press power and press those little buttons and go to the right, go to the left. All she was doing was this. What does that tell you as educators?
We're not teaching.
Your digital natives is all you have in the classroom. And we're gonna go a little bit more into that, but I'm just throwing it out there because I remembered that. Imagine that student in your classroom in elementary. you better be integrate technology into the curriculum. You better have a classroom website. You better be using QR codes. You better have a Gmail account.
I'm kind of against it, but I mean, that
The wave of technology is not going to stop for
I'm
anybody.
so against it.
Yeah, it's not going to stop for me. It's not going to stop for
Against
you.
the little ones doing it.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. So, where am I? Gabriel? Gabriel? No, it's from Laredo. So, we'll use Gabriel from Laredo. So, every time that I go into the classroom, Gabriel decides to say, this is stupid, this is boring, I don't want, Mr. Granal teaches better than you. And he or she wants to stop instruction in the classroom. So when you do an inventory like that, now I know that Gabriel loves camping. So come tomorrow, what is my writing assignment going to be about? Camping. What is my cultural assignment going to be about? If he's the one stopping instruction in the classroom, I don't want instructions to stop. And because of a little inventory like this, now I know what every single student in my classroom likes. I know what nickname they like to be called instead of the full name or the last name or the first name, whatever the case is. Many times when I was in the classroom, data entry clerks came to me and said, Mr. Granal, what is so-and-so phone number? Because on the very first day, I made sure every single student filled this out. Why? I will ask for your mom's number, for your dad's number, for your home address, for every information that I can think of besides what I just asked you guys today. Why? Because in the very first day, the last thing they're thinking about is you. The last thing they're thinking about is about the assignments, and the last thing the one thing they are thinking about is about their girlfriend, their boyfriend, their friends, who they're gonna hang out with during lunch, during PE. They're thinking about all these things, and that's when you can get the most accurate information out of them. After the first day, olvídate. They've settled down and they're not going to give you their mom's or dad's phone number. You only can get that on the first day, first shot. So what you can do from here on, if you're already in the classroom, do a little inventory and just catch them off guard and say what's your favorite hobby and so forth. So from here on, instead of being a referee and fighting with the students through the entire year, now you have access to what they enjoy doing. And then now you can build that UPR, okay? So, and this is all through Google Forms. Integrated with what? Nearplot. Okay? The whole session today is going to be derived using Nearplot. You had an assignment with Nearplot. You have an idea of what I'm doing and what I'm using. You have an idea that I can do open-ended questions, that I can do quizzes, that I can grab data. Okay? And you know I can do virtual reality field trips. You know I can do 3D images because you did the assignment on this. So Nearplot is very powerful. Not only that, we have possibly 48 participants in Laredo following me right now just through Nearplot. So every time I go next, they get to see what I'm seeing. Not only that, now I have their information, Laredo ISD, Gabriel, so forth. It's instant feedback. So if you're gonna use something like this the first 5 minutes of class, or you wanna use the Google form, and you wanna see if the students understood what you taught the day before, and you're doing math, science, and reading, whatever the case is, you create a little Google form asking the question of what happened the day before, and if everybody gets it wrong, you know as an educator, you can stop the reteach right there and then. If everybody gets it right, or 75% gets it right, why would I stop and teach? Let me keep going forward. Let me do my instruction, okay? So it's instant feedback like this.
So you would request the students to get a Gmail account?
The students, depends on the district. I know that Bronzeville ISD has an email for every single student.
Mm-hmm.
I know several districts have emails for students and so forth. But before even Bronzeville ISD, this is 12 years ago, that I was integrating technology in the classroom, every single student had their own email account. And they would create usernames and passwords for whatever it is that I was using in the classroom. So we are going to talk about, and you'll have to understand that as educators, you're going to have to be a risk taker no matter what happens. And just to throw that out there, I was a crazy educator, and I was a risk taker, 110%, to the point that I was teaching statistics in my classroom. This is a 7th grade middle school. And statistics is my weakest part. So while I was doing statistics, I knew it was coming up. Just to give you an idea, right? You're saying that, can we do this, can we not? I grabbed all my students and I said, we're all gonna go all over the campus. Some of you are gonna get in that corner in this hall. I mean, I had them in the first floor and the second floor, all over the campus. And every time somebody walks by, I want you to ask that student or the teacher, whoever it is that is walking by, I want you to ask them, where are they going? Do they have a pass? Do they have a purpose? Etc. So, if this is not going through your mind, I know you're asking, did I get all my students back? Because I told them be back 10 minutes before the bell rings because we need to gather this data and plot it and so forth. Did I get all my students back? Yes or no?
No.
Yes? Who said no?
No.
No, I got like 50% back. But I was a risk taker and I got 50%. And guess what I did with those 50% that I got back in my classroom? Now the data meant something to them. Now that, sir, so-and-so was underneath the stairs and they were kissing. The teacher told me, ¿qué está haciendo aquí? Que vaya para el room. And then there's teachers walking without a purpose or asking where they're going. They don't want to tell me. And then there's a lot of students in the halls. They're just skipping it, and they had all this data that they wanted to bring. But if I would have came on a PDF and said, let's do statistics, look at the, and plot it and do this, it's not meaningful to them anymore. It doesn't mean anything. But because they grabbed the data and because they're using all that information that they got, now they want to plot it. Now they want to see where the chart is. Now they want to understand all the statistics part. Now it meant something to them. When I did it again, you know, of course not every single day, right? But whenever I did it again, I would get more and more students back, to the point that at one point I was only missing like 5 or 6 students. Okay, but that's just part of being a risk taker. The students can create their own Gmail. Yeah, create their own Gmail. You're gonna be the one in charge of this anyways.
Yeah, but can
You're the
you
one in control of it.
request it from the students if they don't have internet at home or like computers?
They have to be 16 or over.
Yeah.
I was teaching middle school and nobody had the age of creating certain accounts. Like for example, the avatars. We would create forgot the name of it, but in order for them to create an avatar, because we would upload it to their website, and then the avatar would say, you know, what they thought. They had to be 16 years or older. So what I told them to do is change your birthday.
Is it, in my line of work, we were not allowed to ask under 16 for their email.
You take that risk. The students are not allowed to
What's
say
against
a few to you.
It's against
And they
the
say
law.
it.
To us.
Yeah. As an educator, you're gonna find out that when we're in college and when we're doing all this, they say, oh, your primary purpose is, when you get to the classroom, is to teach. Reading, writing, etc. But you find out when you're in the classroom that teaching is not the only thing you do. What else do you do? What else are you? You tell me. You're a disciplinary, what else? You're a mom, you're a counselor, you're a mom, you're a nurse, doctor, lawyer, you're everything. So it's very difficult for you to just sit there and say, I'm gonna teach reading and this is all I'm gonna do. That's not gonna happen. Because the first thing that needs to happen in your class is classroom management before you even get to instruction. If not, you'll be fighting students all year long and wasting instruction in the classroom. And it takes a lot of steps, you know, here and there, and you have to do a lot of risk. I take a lot of risk. I can tell you one more, one more crazy thing I did that, since we're talking about it's against the law, even though I'm being recorded, I'm no longer, now I'm a national presenter, so I'm not worried on it. If they come for me, you guys better take me out. But besides getting a culture shock when I went to public school, after that I think I can live through anything. I was teaching at the Kaplan College at one point. The ones who don't go to the 4 year, they can go to the Kaplan College and so forth. And then when I came to the public setting, I went into a culture shock. I had no idea that the students could tell you off, flip you off, you know, mother this, and I had no idea that they could say, you know, wait for me outside because I'm gonna beat you up. And I was working right next to the border with the risk of that the Maya was gonna come and pick me up and take me to across, because all these students came from those type of families. So it was a big culture shock for me. And I remember getting home, my wife saying, I didn't know you cried, are you okay? Is something wrong with you? Like, big culture shock. Did the teacher instinct kicked in after the first 6 weeks? I think that's what happened, because I'm still here. But I think that's what happened. But when I was thrown in with the worst of the worst students, because I don't know back then, I don't know if they still do now, but they had like 7-1, 7-2, 7-3. Do they have that in your class, in your schools? 7-1 means 7th grade. The first group of students are your GT students. 7-2 meant that they were your pre-AP, and then 7-3 was whoever else was left. And I had the 7-3, and as a new teacher, I had no idea what that meant. I quickly found out. But after the teacher instinct kicked in, I did something out of the ordinary that now I know I shouldn't have done. But there was this one student that would never allow me to do instruction. Never. Whatever the case was, he would not allow me to do instruction. And I said, okay, Jesus, from here on, the only way that you can come into my classroom, if you bring your mom. The only way. He didn't care, right? He went skipping and so forth. So the next day comes by, y ahí viene para mi class, now. I don't see your mom. Sir, I'm gonna be skipping. I don't see your mom. 3 days went by. Principal shows up in my door. Mr. Granado, yes ma'am. Jesse says that you won't allow him into the class. What? Jesse, get in here. Get in here. What do you think you're doing? Get in here. Gets in there, sits down, and he thinks he won, and we're always in that battle. Principal leaves, Jesse out. Here you go. Eventually, the mom came. When the mom came, I wanted to die, but it's a lesson to learn. And the reason I wanted to die was because the mom was very humble, and she said, "Look, I cannot miss work. And then that money that I made, it's the only thing we got. But Jesus tells me you won't allow him unless I come." So I want to die. Lesson learned, right? So don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. I teach classroom management, and there's a lot more strategies that we can use and that I can show you. But I'll show you throughout the lesson. But when we're talking about breaking the law, and that when you're in there, believe me, the primary job is not to teach. What is your primary job? What do you think it is? Or what do you think that quote should be? Students don't care how much you know until what? Until they know how much you care. That's when you're going to do the teaching. That's when the math is going to happen. That's when the reading is going to happen. That's when the science is going to happen. Until they know the UPR, which is their unconditional positive regard. Once they know that they're a part of your team, and then you can start teaching your reading and your reading and your science. So it's kind of like the risk-taking part of it. I'm crazy, I know.
I don't know if I want to lose my job.
You won't. Trust me. They're like, you can deal with this, you're staying. You can deal with it, you're staying. I don't care what you do illegally now. Principal
But
will say
sometimes
that.
it's court order, depends on the kid's behavior or truancy.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Mandate the parent to go to class. Whether it be the father or the mother. Sometimes, because we've had that at our campus.
Oh yeah, I'm just talking that quarter or something else, but I'm not the judge, right?
Yeah.
and I made it happen, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Sorry guys, but I need water. All right. The objectives that we have, I'll give you about 1 minute just to read over it. You have it right in front of you. Just read over it and what's going to go on. Something else that I'll be teaching today is if I'm here and I'm reading every single thing that's here, doesn't make sense, right? So I'll give you 1 minute to read it over, browse through it, and then we'll go on to the next slide. That's something you don't want to do to your students either. You got to be prepared and know what you're going to present. All right, let's go. Finally, who is this guy? My name is Mr. Granado. I'm a national trainer for classroom management. certified trainer for the SIOP. I'm also a trainer for integrating technology into the curriculum. I've had the luxury to work with many students, and not only that, but I've had the luxury to work with many master teachers like yourself. It's been an exciting road, and 11 years into the education system, it just keeps getting better and better. We'll also go in a little bit about the word of the day, which is your digital natives that we talked about a while ago. We do have your digital natives, and you have your digital immigrants. Who are your digital immigrants?
The ones who did it.
Yeah, I see so many in here, I think. But your digital immigrants are people like you and me, the ones that are about my age, that were not born with the technology in your hand. Okay, you can sit in front of the professor, you can listen to the professor 3 hours, record the professor, go back home, put the recording on, listen to the professor again, and write the notes. That's me and you, digital immigrants. Your digital natives, no more. Those are your students that were born with the technology in their hand. Those are the students that as soon as they were able to grab something, they grabbed the phone, they grabbed the technology. And they want it quick, they want it fast. Show me the image, show me the text later. You start direct instruction and talking up here, I'm going to sleep, I'm out of here. I'm not paying attention to what you're gonna say. Me and you, open a manual, read the manual, follow the instructions, and then we actually start building. Students, they start building, look at the images, if they go something wrong, they go back to the manual and see where they went wrong. Okay? The education system was written 100 years ago for people like you and me. The education system must now be written for those students that you have in front of you today. Those digital natives that you have in front of you, the education system has not been rewritten. This is why impulse control is impossible. You have the achievement gap, you have the language gap, and now you have the technology gap. Okay? If you want me to relate to you just a little bit more, I think I don't know anybody in this room, but I can tell you 3 problems that you're having right now in your home. You want to hear them? And we'll start from number 3, and then go to number 1. Number 3, pay attention when I'm talking to you. Listen to what I'm saying. Look in my eyes. Stop looking at that device and look at me when I'm talking to you. Yes or no? Yes. Next one. If you don't pass your classes, I'm taking away the device. Yes or no? If you don't do this, I'm taking away this. And it's basically your whatever game or iPod or iPhone or whatever it is.
I'm outside.
Number 1. Number 1 problem that you have at home. Who in the world took my charger? It was right here. Y ahí está el huerco escondido trying to charge his phone because he lost it. Or etc. Right? Number 1 thing is your charger because you want to charge your device. If I can relate to you in any way, just imagine you in the classroom telling that student or the administration, not you, that you cannot use any kind of device in the classroom.
For work, period.
You cannot do anything with your iPhone, your iPad. Look, I went to a middle school, and I do a lot of teacher walk-ins and evaluations. And while I was going to the middle school, and I was about to walk in, there was a humongous sign, and it said, no iPhones, no technology, no cell phones, nothing. And I was having a mini heart attack. It was sunny, and people were like, what's happening to that guy outside? When that mini heart attack was over, I said, you're here to do an evaluation and see what the students are doing. You're not here for integration of technology into the curriculum. So I walk in. It just so happened that when I walk in, the bell rings. And every student is going to different classrooms. And guess what 90% of the students have in their hand? Some kind of a phone. And then, to make it even better, the teachers are waiting outside for the students to go by, and guess what they have in their hand? 90% of the teachers. Cell phones. Seeing who the notifications of who liked, and some texting, and whatever the case is. So, how many of you in here believe and trust that love is blind? Te enamoras y ya no miras nada. I've been married for 22 years. Everywhere I look, I always see my wife. My wife. Because if I don't, she won't allow me to go fishing. No fishing for you, unless she's my wife. So the same thing I say about technology. I say technology is blind. It's happening right in front of us, and we're not seeing it. You're worried about that the district doesn't have Wi-Fi for the students? Hello, the students have a cell phone, they have their own Wi-Fi. You're using Nearpod, have them take it out, have them answer the questions. Submit, you're done. You're using a QR code where the students have an assignment, and then they have to scan the QR code, so see if they did the right, they just say they worked a math problem out. There's a QR code, they scan it, it shows the answer, it's wrong, they get to work it again. You can use all these technology resources because the students already have the device in their hand. They can text without taking it out of their pocket. Might as well take it out in the classroom and use it. Okay? 11 years ago, this is 11 years ago. That's what I was doing in my classroom. But they didn't have cell phones. Back then it was what? iPods. Everybody had their iPods. I don't even go to the school. I pay the password. But they were using it, and we were doing Kahoot, we were doing Schoology, we were doing all these answers, answering through the phone, and they were collaborating. If they did that when I walked out, that was a whole different story. But now, everybody has a device. Use it, take advantage of it. You're not paying for it, the Wi-Fi is free because their mom is paying for it. Take advantage of all this
What happens
technology.
to those students that don't have that technology?
You collaborate, they get together. Like if somebody would have said, I don't have my phone and I don't have my notebook, and then you do collaborate. Okay, so how I jumped there, I have no idea. Let's go here. Definitely will not brag about myself today, but many times candidates want to know my credentials. Everything that you see up there, at one point, I have been published by eSchools, where they interviewed me because the campus academics went up for integrating so much technology into the curriculum, using math and science through adaptive curriculum. If you go to adaptive curriculum today and you go to where it says research, and then I'm there in one of those videos where they do our schools and how we did it. I mean, there's just so much. I'm part of the, you guys are taking anybody taking tech apps? Tech app exam? Nobody? I'm part of creating those questions and answers, so if you need the answers, I'll take so much money. I'm just kidding. I will not, but I can keep on and on. We're not here for that. That just so you can have a little credentials of what I do. This one, there's only one reason I want to show it, and that's because I want you to listen to what the student is saying. Because remember that when we do the evaluations, or the administrator's in your room and she's writing things down, what do you think she's writing? Doesn't matter what you're doing, it matters what the students are doing. So I want you to listen what the students said here. You're gonna see me when I was young and beautiful. At one point. This is a dangerous, I don't know. Yeah. Listen to what the students say.
Adaptive curriculum gives the student a different approach of what they're learning in the classroom. Like, it's more like a real life experience for them. They get to relate what they're learning in the classroom to real life situations.
Because the students basically had a great time interacting with the program. They had real life scenarios come up. Students will come up to me and say, well, at least I get to repeat it over and over without having to worry that I have to raise my hand and say, well, what, didn't you already ask me the question? And then they actually have to repeat it over and over and not have to worry about that. Part of their embarrassment, I guess, in class.
I like that you can pause and just go back in case you need to hear something. You can't pause the teacher, so obviously that's cool.
Yeah, because I couldn't remember if the percent was in the top or it was in the bottom, and I'll get confused. But there, it has the signs and everything, and it helped me remember.
It helps us understand things better. Sometimes the teacher's not very good at explaining, or she explains, but in a different way that we don't understand, or in a more sophisticated way. And adaptive curriculum does it in a simpler way, which is very much easier for us to understand. But it's another way of learning, like it's not old school. Like you see the teacher up on the board writing and you have to copy. It's not old school. It's you're using electronics, something that teenage people like.
This was years back. Imagine right now, imagine that student that came out and CNN, and imagine that student in your classroom and you're trying to do direct instruction without any technology. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen even now with your digital natives that you have in front of you. Okay? Okay. So if we look at this today, and I know you're probably able to see it in front of you. It's kind of hard for me to see it from here, but it says, I have the mouse in the upper right corner, I click and nothing happens. Okay, that's your digital immigrants, right? If you're on the phone. So what I want you to do next is you have a sheet in front of you. You have your phones, you'll be able to text, but I want you to use one of the columns. If you find that somebody's already typing in one of the columns, and then use the next one down, there's a column for each one of you. And just start typing. It says, what do you know about technology resources? So go ahead and start typing in there. Don't answer the third one, only answer the first two. And then the next one is, what is your biggest concern when integrating technology into the classroom? Loreto's doing the same thing.
It's not letting us.
Through the phone, it doesn't allow you to?
I click it, it does nothing.
You need to stop complaining. Nah, I'm just kidding. Right, at this point, you would be prepared that every student had that iPad that was working. But yeah, make sure next time you bring your desktop. Don't answer the last row. Don't go into the third row, because we're not done with that presentation, just the first two columns. Don't answer the third column. Anonymous alligator. I don't know if it's here or it's in Laredo, but just do the first two columns. Your phone doesn't allow you? I just want to see. No, I want to see just what happens. So does it even ask you to do anything else? You can write it in a piece of paper. You have your notes. So yeah, do it old school. You know, always be ready for technology doesn't function. So you have a piece of paper, your index cards that you have, just write that in there. So if you get called, at least you have that ready.
That's a Microsoft.
Raise your hand if you're in the classroom right now. Give you about 1 more minute, continue working on this.
Somebody gets in the cell and you can't.
Yeah, if somebody's in that cell, just go to the next one down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think I made enough, probably not. If there's not enough, just add another one. It's just like using Microsoft Word. The collaboration that happens. Anybody here have an iPad that they're using? I want to know if it works with the iPad. No?
From the other band.
Alright, so we'll continue here. And for those of you who raised your hand that you're in the classroom, are you by any chance using Class Dojo in your classroom?
Sometimes Kahoot. Yeah.
Kahoot, you're using that to play with the students? Okay, I would definitely challenge you to use Class Dojo, and basically because it also has a timer. So if you're all using that, and plus you get to randomly select the student. While I was doing many trainings, I would get teachers say, well, that's gonna take too much time for me to import the students. By the time I do that, I'm gonna waste more of my time and I have a lot of things to do, okay? So, let me show you. The first thing we did, is it? Okay, that's fine right there. So I will just grab from here. So I don't have to take you off of the screen. All I'm gonna do is go to the responses where everybody keyed in their first name and their last name, because I have that Excel sheet with me. And if I start, for example, if you do a little response like that, here's the first name, here's the last name. I'm gonna scroll all the way down, right click, copy. I don't know if you're looking at this. I'm gonna come to my Class Dojo. I'm gonna add a class. What are we, fall? 2017. Just to other. I'll select this for now. Add a class. Import students. Import from Excel. I think it's Control P. They don't let me do this. Import list. Continue. Done. And I guess get the invites. And I'm done. Now I have my class. Done with invites. I think it took me less than a minute. I think it's downloading that PDF. It gives you an automatic PDF with all the students where you can send it home and the parents can download the app and have access to the students. What that does for you, voila, I have all my students now. So it's really not an excuse that you don't have time. It took me less than a minute, and so you can go back later and edit the names or whatever the case is. But now I have all my students. I can randomly select if I wanted to. And Erica would be my next participant, for example. Okay? And then you would start giving points and do all that nice stuff. Okay, so whenever I raffle this $10,000 equipment, if you didn't sign in, and then you'll probably not be in there. Okay, so that's how easy it is. So is Erica, is she in here?
Yes, sir.
I'm just gonna, which Erica? I'll use this Erica. All right, Erica, let's look at the very first one. And it says, what do you know about technology resources? Where's Erica?
Me.
Okay.
Minimal, just besides the phone that I use.
Who has helped you along the way to use somewhat of technology? Has anybody said, look, you can use this, or look, this is how you use the laptop, or this is how you use the projector, or, has anybody, no, I'm serious. I'm actually serious. Like, has anybody approached you, like?
Not really. My daughter, my 18-year-old daughter, was the one who kind of, get this phone and this is what it does, and, so I kind of upgraded my phone originally because I was just, now I've learned a little bit more about the phone. So I originally got a laptop, and so now you're talking about bringing a laptop, a desktop. I just got a desktop at home. So now you're talking about bringing a laptop. So I'm looking at everybody else like I can barely handle a phone and a desktop, and now.
Very good, but you said the magic word. When the 18-year-old, you said the magic answer. And when I do these trainings for integrating technology into the curriculum, a teacher sits there and says, by the time I learn how to do Google Form, by the time I learn how to do a website, by the time I learn how to create those QR codes, by the time I learn how to use Nearpod, ya se están muriendo and they haven't even started. Okay? Rule number one is grab one thing and run with it and forget about everything else. Rule number 2, which is the most important thing, is what you said, is don't ever sit there and do it yourself. You have over, I don't know how many students in front of you. Let them run with it. Let them build your website. Let them build your QR code. And you know what students I use to do my website and to do my QR codes and to do the distance learning and to collaborate with NASA and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Guess what students I used?
Seven.
The most, it's amazing how those most troubled students are experts at web design, at using Photoshop, at using all this electronic equipment. Because the GTs and the PAP are too busy doing everything else to trying to succeed. And these students, I'm not saying they're not trying to succeed, but if you give them this job, man, then now they feel the UPR, the unconditional positive regard, man, the teacher needs me. And she's expected for me to do this. You can go to Porter, you can go to Vistedo, you can go to any school that I taught, and my students were always running the show. I was only facilitating. They were always out and about doing something that meant to them, that it was real life. It was very rare that I was in the classroom. I was in the classroom doing things, but most often they were always doing something that is meaningful. And just little things like that is what makes a difference in the classroom. So what I'm saying to you is there's no way you're gonna grab all these resources unless you're a digital native in this room, that you're gonna be able to really grab on and grab at least 2 or 3 of the resources and run with it. But even then, I mean, I have a master's in educational technology, and even then, my students run the technology anywhere I go. And that is the whole point, for the students to run the classroom. You're still in charge, you're still the person in charge of the classroom, the authority in the classroom. But they will run the show for you. There's no way anybody here in this room, even myself, know more than what the kids know. They know so much. We have the experience because we trip and fall. But when it comes to all this technology, they know a lot more than we do. And they can grab it like this, run with it, and then you ask them, okay, teach me. Oh, they probably teach better than us even. And I have a section where I talk about that. They're not here, but sometimes they do. They give us real good advice. Sometimes they don't, and because we have experience, we sit down and say, look, I know what you're trying to say, but because my experiences, this is what you're probably trying to say. Let me show you. Okay? Because the students, I said a while ago that impulse is impossible. Impulse control is impossible. That just means that most of the time you spend your time saying, what were you thinking? I asked you to do this and you did this. What were you thinking? Well, if you understand the part of the brain, the executive part of the brain has not developed for the students until they're the age of 25. That's why they don't rent cars to anybody that's lower than 25 years old. And these students are in front of you and you're wondering, what are they doing? Well, the answer to you is gonna be, I don't know. And then they're correct. Why? If you take a step back, they're actually reactive, and then they're waiting for you to think for them. Tell me what the right way is. And many times we forget and we sit there and we say, you're already in 9th grade, you should know. No. It takes up to the age of 25 for them to know. And after that, then you can say that. Meanwhile, when they react, instead of saying, what were you thinking? Here, let me show you the right way. Because they're waiting for that. They want structure. Okay? It might go off task, you need to let me know. All right, we had the Nearpod assignment. And I heard from one of the students, or one of the candidates in here, that when you're trying to do assignment for the technology apps, it threw you back to Nearpod. Nadie ha hecho the assignment, hijos. Nobody has done the assignment because if not, you would have said, yes, sir. So when you do the tech apps, for some reason, it's throwing you back to Nearpod. So since I see a lot of blank faces, I'll get you corrected and you get to do the assignment. Everybody would have said, yeah, that's true. You see, you should have talked to everybody before I said something. So the assignment was to create a Nearpod, okay? And Nearpod, let's come over here. We'll give you participation. Yay. Jonas here?
He just went
Let's follow her to the restroom, guys. I'm used to being outside with the students. So. We have a needs work over here now. So going to the restroom at the wrong time. She's probably looking at her notifications for Facebook. Randy, in here? Randy? Randy, tell me about Nearpod.
It's just like PowerPoint, just has more features. As,
Like a PowerPoint on steroids?
Yeah, you can do quizzes, which I thought was pretty cool. Because on the one that you were talking about, how you take the link and it takes you back to Nearpod, I redid another assignment because I thought that's what it was asking. So I submitted 2 different assignments, and on the second one I did a quiz.
Okay. And did you go above and beyond and messed around with it a little bit, or you didn't have too much time and you just did that?
Yeah, I didn't have too much time. I was creating the content
Really?
while I was doing it, so it was pretty cool.
Way to go, Randy.
Okay. So on task.
He was taking care of his chicken.
On task. Marta in here? It's maybe from Laredo. Okay. So Laredo also give you that 1 point. You might win. Anaí? Anaí, besides what he said, what else can you tell us about Nearpod?
Well, I kind of.
I didn't do it. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I
I'm playing with
did.
you.
And now that you're saying, I remember that there. I don't know. I had trouble.
Ahora sí van a decir,
No,
ahora sí. You
I'm
guys are
gonna say
passing it around.
Is I don't know. I mean, what is that?
What did you do? I mean, what did you learn from it? Like, from Nearpod?
Well, I'm a little skeptical about technology. I am. I'm not in the classroom yet.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm learning, and I think it's a very good resource if used correctly. I don't know.
Okay, so we'll say that you were persistent. Okay. So as we know, if you are, a lot of teachers, when they see Nearpod, I'm not gonna recreate all my PowerPoints or PDFs. I'm not gonna do all that just to use Nearpod. Okay. And the magic thing about it, as you found out already, is that you don't have to. Because Nearpod, all you do is grab that PowerPoint that you already had prepared for the school and you just dump it in there. Now, Nearpod allows you to use certain megabytes, right? Certain size of PowerPoint. Yes, so how would you make it so that the PowerPoint is not too heavy? That means that it doesn't have too much megabytes, right? Huh? Turn it into a PDF. Okay. What was that?
I submitted it as a PDF.
Yeah, file, save as, PDF, and then you upload it. So it'll shrink a lot smaller.
Because it's
Okay.
in a PowerPoint format anyway.
Yeah, so either way.
Does it use Keynote too?
I don't know about that one. I don't know if I've never integrated Keynote in there, so I couldn't answer that.
Sure.
So if it does.
That's what I show with that.
I have, like, for example, I have to create a quiz for tomorrow. I can come in here, go to quiz, and I created it, or they created it for me.
You can,
Under the whatever subject it is.
yeah, you just create it. So if I'm in Nearpod right now, and there's always teachable moments that somebody says and triggers something in your mind, right? You're like, oh man, I didn't put this. So if that just happened right now, I can come in here
Could you see
and I
our
can create a
submissions?
quiz.
Could you see our submissions?
Yeah, we can go through them right now. Yeah, I saw them. Some of them took me somewhere else. So all of a sudden, I'm just messing here. So I'm gonna put that, I'm gonna be true. And so now in front of you, you have that true and false poll, that you can answer. So just the way I created the true and false, you can create the multiple choice on your own and then have it ready. But you also can do it on the spot. I can have an open-ended question, I can throw up a website, I can do an activity, etc. So yeah, you go in there, you add, you right-click, and you add a question. And these are the choices, and you click on the right answer.
And will it allow me to create a diagram?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can upload an image with that question. It'll allow you to add an image. Like if you have a PowerPoint, and that's the image that you want to use that's on the slide, you go File, Save As, and when it says the file type, you just select Picture, or JPEG, or PNG, and then it'll ask you, do you want to make every single slide a picture, or do you just want to make this one slide a picture? And you can upload that image. If it's a PowerPoint. If it's a PDF, you can take a snapshot of it and make it into an image and upload it. But yes, you can add an image and a diagram.
Does this work with Mobi, like the Mobi pads? Like, could you be able to write on your Nearpod PowerPoint and have the kids see it on their tablet, phone, whatever?
Oh man, I use Mobi, but I use it very little, so I don't remember if this is something that you can add. This is a feature you can add there. I used Mobi, but it was a very, I used it for half of a year. And I don't remember the features it has, but you can ask and see if you can. I really don't remember how to use that one. And you need to ask Mobi probably, or whoever. Sorry. Okay, so I'm gonna close this activity because I just closed activity because I just did it on the spot. Okay. So you submitted your Nearpods, and I should be able to see them in just a minute after I see this 3D image. But you saw that you can import 3D images, right? So if you're looking at your phone or if you have a laptop, you can grab your mouse and you can move it around. You can pivot it. You can look at the skull. You can zoom in. You can zoom out, and you can just do so many things with it. So here it is. I can look at where am I, and you can go like this and look at the brain. I can zoom in. So there's many things that you can do. Imagine all your students in the classroom and they're looking at their phones and they're going like this and they're zooming in, zooming out, and you're talking about all these parts of the body, for example. So when you're creating your Nearpod, we'll show you right now. So that way these questions will come up in a minute, and I'll do just one slide and I'll add one of everything just so you can have an idea. Okay, virtual field trips. If you're looking at your phone right now, you can pick it up. You can go like this. You can go up, go down. So if you're doing math, science, on your desktop, you probably have to use a phone. Did that work though?
No, it didn't.
Oh, okay, I didn't think so. But on your iPad, on your desktop, on your laptop, you can use your mouse and move it around. All right, but you can take your students on a virtual field trip anywhere you want, anywhere in the world, any subject. So if you wanna, where do you grab all this free information? Can you tell me? No, go ahead. Your question?
Yeah, okay, now I've answered your question. So all this is with the regular free one?
Yep. It's all available. Okay. Now, if I want to grab a virtual field trip that you want to teach tomorrow on maybe Iraq, because you're doing social studies, I don't know. Whatever the topic is that you come up with, is it about math, about buildings, about shapes, you go to YouTube and you say VR 360, or you can say free VR 360 videos, educational. Make sure, yeah, I learned that very quick. Make sure you put educational at the end because it'll grab everything from around the world and other things will pop up, okay? So you wanna make sure that you put educational, and when that happens, you're gonna see so much videos and images that you can upload to a Nearpod. So if I go right now to YouTube and I say, you know what, who's in the classroom? Tell me something you want to show tomorrow as a virtual field trip. Virtual field trip.
Africa.
Africa?
South Africa.
Okay, so free VR 360 videos of Africa. Educational. Okay, so I'm in Africa now, and let's just say this is a video that I'm interested in, because you can upload this video to Nearpod, and then, okay, so let's just say in your classroom all the lights are off and everybody's gonna take this virtual field trip. If they have the iPads, they can do this, but probably nobody in the classroom has a device, so everybody can be watching your screen, and you can start looking around. Okay, you can start looking around, you can look at the sky, you can look at whatever, and this you can integrate into your Nearpod. So it's all free, okay? Now, if you don't want to take a virtual field trip, and you just want a 360 image, and then you go to Google, show me all 360 images for Africa, and you upload them to the Nearpod, and then you can grab it, and you can zoom in, zoom out, go around, look around, etc. Let me stop this.
So when they do that video, how do they make it seem to where you can change everything?
I can take a 360 image right now with my phone. Everybody has their new phone, or it's me because I'm rich.
Probably.
No, this phone is old. But if I take a picture right now and I go to mode, it actually gives me the option where it says 360 panoramic picture. So if I click on it right now and I press picture, I just go picture. Go like this. Oh, really? I want you to stay up for class, please. So I'm just gonna do this right here. ¿Quién hizo la bad face allá? So, done. All right, so it's processing. I know it's a little bit small, but I'm just gonna show you. I wanna see it. It's gonna ask you, do you wanna see it as a 360? I'm gonna say yes. And now I can move around. I can.
But it's an image.
Yeah, it's an image.
But that's
Okay, so I can move around. I can go like this. Oh, there you are. You know. And I can look at everybody just the way you would do in your iPod on your iPhone. So I can move it around, go up, go down. So believe me when I tell you this. Believe me when I tell you this. Students have better phones than we do. And they'll probably have a phone that can take a 360 video instead of a 360 image, right? I probably can do a video. I haven't tried. I'll try that next time.
So is this app only for like Apple, or can you use it for like
No.
an Asus tablet?
Yeah, any device. Yeah, everything that I'm showing you is not for one specific Apple or Microsoft or anything like that. It's universal.
And if to get it downloaded onto, for instance, we have tablets, to get it downloaded.
You don't have to download anything because remember that you're using, as long as you do it on your NearPod, it'll show on their device. Because remember right now, if I go to the next screen and then your device goes to the next screen, if the next screen is that image that I have right there, the YouTube video, then that's what they're gonna
So
see.
they don't have to have the NearPod app. They can just go to the website.
Yeah. Well, the iPad will need to have the app
Okay.
because it'll ask them to download it and so forth. So you would have to download the NearPod app. But in a regular desktop, you guys didn't have to. Is it time? Once I see him standing, I know it's I'm almost close. So he's like, hey, vámonos. But if it's a desktop, you just go to nearpod.com and do the join, and you don't have to download anything. But if it's an iPhone, an iPad, an iPod, it more likely will ask you to download that app.
What about like a Chromebook?
Yeah, it'll probably allow it, say, to download that app, so that they can be able to see. Okay, so I guess at 7:15 we have a break. So go ahead and take that 15-minute break, and we'll come back and continue.
It's specifically a laptop. We have tons and tons of these. We have tons and tons of those. Yeah.
Well, the NearPod is
All of
you,
our cows.
but,
I'm sorry, is that?
Our cows.
let me ask, hold on.
Storage room.
Okay, so you're saying what? Oh, yeah. The NearPod is you go to nearpod.com, you do all your stuff. Has nothing to do with the IT guy. The IT guy comes in if you don't check out iPads and that iPad doesn't have the
How do I get into my
Instagram? And you want to use it. If not, they just pick up their phone, download the NearPod app. Yep, and that code only lasts you 15 days. But if I come over here,
All of them say
Someone office doesn't know how to spell.
all of them say low rate instead of exactly. That's what you put in.
and I have names right. So here, you see where it says student? Click on that, it'll give you a code that will last 30 days. That means that's my code that you give to the students. If you click forward right here, you send it, you can upload it to your home, nearpod.com, enter this code, and the whole PowerPoint that will be going in at their own
Oh, yeah,
pace.
but, I mean, the only
If
thing
you had open ended questions, multiple choice,
or one of those
you uploaded a PDF where they had to drop some things,
Or-
all that will be documented.
These things are
All
awesome.
that, everything they do will be documented on the reports, and it'll show you everything they did and the grade that they got.
So I have my TI
You have all your documentation. So it doesn't matter if a student
They
can
do
be
have,
absent
they do
for 4 or 5 days.
integration on the, so
All
in
you
other
just
words,
say, here's a code,
an 84, you can just buy that and just, okay, integration. I'm gonna do differential equation.
I don't think I'm very elementary.
Everyone's making a switch. So like 5th grade, for instance, they'll use, I know they're starting to put algebra in there, so they may end up using that.
You're gonna start doing algebra.
Where's my car?
Maybe my big one.
Oh, you were doing about No.
I've been hot. I've seen But yet, carriages you can get when you
Well, yeah, I was, that's the thing. You see, that's why I like the bistro. Now that's even better. Beer. Well, I mean, you can already get beer, but the thing is, you can't get food. Like, you can't get food. You can't get beer. Yeah. At the one in the mall? Yeah. They just integrated that not too long ago.
My husband likes the oranges just because he gets Starbucks.
No, here in Brussels. See, that's why I like the bistro, because you can actually, like, the seats are nice and comfortable.
Yeah, I like the bistro.
You can order your food. It's in Edinburgh.
$6 for a
Well, yeah, but
We go to the ones on
those are awesome.
I know.
You know, especially if you get like a slice of pizza and the hot dog, because the slices of pizza from Sam's are in the
I put my slice of pizza into it first. So I have to
Why would you bite it?
Because I was supposed to, I was shopping for work.
I incognito put all my trash in here.
I wasn't gonna stick it anywhere.
Right one?
You were shopping way too much. So you would go buy stuff for work for like
Yes.
and you couldn't take the pizza?
No.
You would get
Why don't you just like have this big
You were in line for that? You went to go get some line really?
I spent more time on the line
See,
for this.
all
Yeah,
of
their
the
lines
food-
I always wanted, but the lines too big.
all of the food from Sam's is amazing. What is it, the yogurt? Is it the ice cream and yogurt?
Love it. The bear
I'll even eat the churros. I'll even eat the churros.
The pizza's got the hot dogs here and the
I honestly had them this in my purse for like 3 hours now. Not even amazing.
You can tell from the
I
brand.
go to the gas station all the time. And they sell
I am. I'm jelly. I'm super jelly. Huh? I have no idea.
Now they tell me because of that.
He told me
We
last.
have class Monday, right?
He told me last time that
I'm not coming on Fridays.
he didn't show up to one of them.
That's a problem we recorded.
Yeah.
They totally showed us in the
Yeah.
That's what I'm curious about. Because some of them, well, I mean, see, that's understandable. But he has school. Most of the time that I write alone,
you know, like,
that's creepy.
So sir, move on.
You already usually because computers started coming out in '96. Like I didn't get my first computer until I was like 17. Because '96 is when the first time I won a laptop and then I was on my friends had those ink machines that were just like you had to you would hear the modem and then connect it to verify online. Those were so terrible. Those were so terrible.
I had students, I mean, I had their name tags.
Yeah, we had the students, there's a lot of kids that don't even, I don't have internet at home. I can't. Because it's corrupt. Everything's See, I gave up fantasy football for one reason. Throughout the season, I was 15-1. I lost only the first game. I won my first 2 playoff games. I get to the last game, and I'm like, I ended up getting killed. Like, your league didn't have first and second? No! I ended up getting
And I checked my
I'm not gonna be here Friday and Monday.
So you're never here for the teachers?
Monday, Monday I have to be at work. I have a meeting today, so I'm
Talk to him. He's usually pretty good about it.
Well, because you know you were there.
You should. For the win.
So whatever they have for you, you don't like taking it, whatever, then you go to use
Whatever makes you sleep okay.
They have a lot of
That sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. Someone was in the truck. That already sounds vicious. I'd probably get them. I'm always wondering, like, you know, when cars are swerving, you have lots of ideas. I've always had a dream of doing it. No, the new one I haven't seen yet. I don't have one. See, this is great. My teacher was like, what? First of all, how did she get up here? How did she get up here? It seems it doesn't seem real.
Like, what's the rest of her body?
all I have to do is be really hard work. And all the things are there.
I don't know technique, but even I know that.
That's not taking
When you have a part of that sport, it's not a blue dress phenomenon.
Dude, I never even, like, I remember my students were like, oh, it's not blue, it's great. I have no idea what it is. He says that if you're going to be late more than 30 minutes, don't just don't bother the show.
press submit, of course, you'll put the first name that you did right now, and then that was the name off. And then that will get an Excel file, so it'll have the parent's name, the parent's email, the kid that it belongs to, and then so if they submit it, that tells me that they read.
I heard they were using one.
So
It's the same company. It's the same company.
yeah, and you'll have it forever. I can go to your laptop and just log in and start.
That's awesome.
Oh my God. Ya me regañaron.
See, I
All
would
right,
know.
let's go. All right, let's get started.
These shorts are from Walmart. This shirt is from Walmart.
All right, let's get started. Ya me regañó Juan. Hey, you're talking too much. Let's get started. All right, so we're gonna start with the near-pod assignments that you guys submitted. We'll look at a couple of links, and then I'll do one very quick with one slide and a sample, so that you can see the power that it has behind it of everything that I used. If you're already a little tech savvy and you played with it, you'll understand already what I'm doing. But while I'm talking to what was your name? I'm sorry. Hector. A lot of things started triggering. That's why if you guys collaborated enough, and then a lot of things started triggering in my mind that happened. But especially this one incident that happened to me and the only reason I'm sharing this with you is because we're talking about technology resources. We're talking about technology in the classroom. That's the only reason I'm telling you this story. My niece, we were at a cookout, and my niece goes to one of the high schools where I used to work at. Not that I used to work at the main office, but I was in charge of 59 schools, and her high school is one of those high schools that I train in technology. She didn't know this, of course. And it just so happened that she asked. She goes, Theo, what do you do at the district? What is your role in the classroom? What is it that you do? And I said, nothing. I sit around, relax in my desk, and pick up calls. I'm just kidding, say that. I said, you know what? I go to different campuses and I train teachers on how to use technology. Really? He goes, did you go to my campus? And she tells me the campus. I said, yeah, I went to that campus. Oh, it's no wonder the teacher. And she starts laughing. And I said, well, why are you laughing? She goes, because the teacher was up there and she brought up Kahoot. And she said, okay, students, today we're going to use Kahoot. And I want everybody to take out your devices. And then she starts laughing again. And I go, why do you keep laughing? Well, we already had our devices out. Just tell us where to go. Everybody already had their devices out. They're already texting one way or another. Just tell us where to go. Tell us what to download. And that stuck to me like crazy. And this is why I say the students already have the Wi-Fi for them to use it. Use it with whatever it is that, well, I mean, unless you're going to use it. Don't just let them use it because, right? Unless you're going to do an activity with them. So that was that. That triggered in me. So it's 9 to 20 on September. It doesn't matter what day. So we'll look at one sample here, and this happens to be Sandra. About this. Sandra here? She's not here? Absent? Are you guys lying to me? You guys like que tantas no mentiras. Victor Mendez?
Yes.
Okay, so Victor, it's okay that I can see yours after? No te vas a enojar, and then I'll start como the students, I'll see you outside. Okay, so if I click on the link, it should take me to the link that he created, and it'll be the law enforcement. So I hope I really don't see you after this. They're gonna beat me up here. So really, first slide, second slide. Yeah, it's todo.
Yeah.
Okay. So never make fun of your student magic. So maybe you didn't have time to work on the assignment to do.
No, that's what the homework asked.
To do 2 slides?
Oh,
Okay.
just
I did
one.
more than one.
Hey, but I said in the bottom, if you can go above and beyond the Call of Duty. Okay, so I'm gonna feel afraid if you go rescue me. No, I came, I'm gonna wait here. No, I'm just kidding. Ni modo, what happens to you is your problem. So, I'm just playing with you. Is that okay, Victor? Just playing with you. Victor. No quiero que me hagan. Okay, Randy from. It's very hard to see.
Otra vez, Randy.
We'll choose Jesus Olivares from Laredo. Let's look at his. Jesus, you have no choice but for me to show your. Because I cannot hear you say yes or no. So it's going to be a yes for me now. Messy with physics. So what I can see from here is that he probably had a PowerPoint already set and he uploaded the PowerPoint. And that's what we can use. The nice thing about this is that in between this you can add what? Quizzes, polls, true and false, 3D images, VR, and so forth. You can add a lot in between this and make it very collaborative. So very nice. Good job. Let's try it out. So he did add a video. He uploaded a YouTube video wherever he grabbed it from. So now we're allowed to play this video. And Jesus gives us a whole 9 minutes on how to use a certain program. Okay? So, very good. Okay? And then he has an open-ended question that he added to that, which is very nice. Okay? And then it's over. So, that's him. And we'll make it even more exciting here. The next one that I'm going to select is Molly. How do I quickly find Molly? Any experts? All right. So I go Control F for those of you who are not aware, and I say Molly. And 0. Is there another name, Molly, that you use? Is Molly in here?
Laredo.
From Laredo? Okay. In that case, I'm going to pick somebody here. Cavazos?
Here.
All right. One then. Okay. See? Just like you've used in the past dojo. Did you follow his lead?
Slide.
Was it second slide? Because what I'm about to see say second slide.
I did that one too.
I jumped into conclusions.
You too? Yeah.
So you did the PowerPoint because I know it's the background, right?
You can do it.
Very good. There you go. I think, did the homework say add some kind of an interactive in there? Like a question or a poll?
I did all that.
I remember saying something like that in my video. You guys are gonna stick together. I want you to learn that right now. You guys figuring stuff in my mind. Students are always gonna stick together when they're around their friends. Remember that as educators in the classroom. Once all the students leave, I'm sorry, ma'am, but you were right, ma'am. But they're always throwing you on the bus when they're in front of other students. So always remember that you're there to be an educator and not their friend. I just remembered that, I'm sorry. All right, next. And I'll just scroll down and look at Hector. Is that you again? No,
Hector what?
Ramirez?
Yeah.
All right, Hector.
It might be friends.
Is there anybody in here? All right, is there anybody in here that would like me to share their Nearpod?
I did videos. And
You had it? Okay, so let me look at this. I'm not saying that at the next slide. Stop helping me jump to conclusions. We were assuming that it was going to say slide 2. You see, you set the stage for what's happening now.
I have a PowerPoint I borrowed my sister.
He borrowed his sister's PowerPoint, uploaded it to do the assignments, submitted, made Mr. Good happy. Now he has the name. Did not go above and beyond and added questions and okay. So you added the slides, so it's all about fashion. What was your name? Who said all the videos?
Parker.
Okay, Control F because my eyesight is not that good. Is it this one, Anna
Yeah.
Parker?
Mhm.
So who learned Control F today?
All right.
No, you didn't know? Anytime you're even if you're on the internet and there's a humongous page of words and you want to find something similar, Control F, type it in, it'll go through the whole site and look at those words. Okay, Control F.
What is that?
What is that? You gave me the wrong code, that's what it is.
Oh,
When
you
you click on
serious?
share, it gives you a link and you didn't give me that link.
I did.
You did?
Mhm.
It probably expired. When did you turn it?
Last week.
It lasts 15 days, remember that. And when you share
Oh,
the
2
code,
weeks ago.
as
I work, so I turned in my subs.
yeah, it only lasts 15 days. If you want it to last a little bit longer, because you want to give it as an assignment, and you want it to last 30 days, you gotta use the one that says student case, and I'll show you that in a minute. Okay?
Because I already turned the one for next week too.
Not porque dije eso. I turned them in, they expired, that's not my problem now.
I did, I already did the work.
Okay.
They
Nice.
opened all the folders, so I was like.
Laredo, Francisco.
That's true.
Francisco, let me make sure. Francisco Fuentes. Vamos a ver Laredo. Now, did you help Laredo out? That's not what I want to know. My instructions are really that specific, really? Just create one slide and that's it?
Yeah.
I'm a bad teacher. I'm gonna look at the video. I looked at the video, it doesn't say create one slide.
Name the first slide. First slide and then something like an example.
See, I didn't say anywhere be creative. I'm gonna look at my video and come Monday, I'm gonna show you where it says be creative and go above and beyond. If not, then I'll blame myself.
Can you do Control F for the word?
Down here, I don't know, Control F, yeah, let me see history. Yeah, look, and history, yeah, okay, fine. And you thought you were gonna outsmart me, I know, so yeah, it does happen. Anyway, yeah, he added a couple of slides, so that's real good. Now, if you're using Nearpod, and this is the one I want to share with everybody, what would I do? You Nearpod experts. What would I do? I want to share with everybody because everybody's following me on
Give them the
Nearpod.
code, like you did today.
I could do that, but I want to share the address.
Oh, just.
That,
the
that big URL address.
Share the URL though?
Yeah, so I come over here, I can grab this right here, right click and copy, and go to my Nearpod, and where it says activity, I can say web page. Because if you tell students to go to a web page, what's gonna happen? Another 15 minutes are gonna go, what did you say, sir? HTTP what, where, da da da, and another 15 minutes are gonna go by. And that's, the last thing you want is to stop instruction in the classroom. So I'm gonna control paste, and I'm gonna share. So that's gonna go to all of your little, I'm gonna close it because I don't know what happened. What happened there? Does it take you to another Nearpod? What happened? I've never done this one before.
Yeah, it takes you that.
Yeah? Okay. The nice thing about here is you're always in control, so if I close the activity, the students will no longer be able to see. Okay? So anybody that's in Laredo right now can also see what we're doing here. If I wanted to really share, maybe one from Bronzo so they can see it, because maybe they're not able to see it because of the film. But just remember what technology can do for you. If you have that student that says, I'm gonna be out for a whole week, that's fine. You know, I've already created all my Nearpods. Here are the codes. Just go on there and you can view everything that I was gonna do, all the multiple choice, all the open-ended questions, and then you have documentations. Because where it says reports, it'll give you everything that he answered, everything that he drew, and so forth.
So you don't have to manually, if you give it to somebody to do on their own, they can do it, like scroll on their own?
Yeah, because you don't have to do the link part, you can do the address part.
Okay.
It's up to you,
And
in this case. But
so
I
you
would,
just-
in your case, turning the assignment, it was doing this is because I already clicked on the link that you gave me.
Yeah.
And it took me to that actual Nearpod, so I just grabbed that same, same URL.
So then, like, if they wanna go back and review what we went over in class, they just go.
They just go to nearpod.com, enter that PIN number.
Like those.
Or the URL, yeah, or the URL.
And they can do it themselves.
It'll be good for 14 days since the day you created.
Sir, if the student is going to be out for a week and you do give them the codes and there's quizzes, will they have access to the correct answer? Like if they answered wrong? Oh.
I mean, no, whatever they answer, if it's right or wrong. It won't say this is the correct answer.
Oh, okay.
So, any other questions? Something came up, but I don't think I should bring it up. Any other? Okay, so I'll bring it up. I'll say it. The reason I want to say it is because many of you have already taken college courses. Yes or no? And many of the courses you're taking is online. Some of the assignments are mostly online. So if you're working on an assignment online, what's your name here? Jessica. If you're working on an online assignment and it has an exam or it has multiple choice, and can us four right here help you answer that question? We can?
We're not supposed to.
Are we supposed to? But can we? Yeah, we can all look at the question. She's researching online, he's looking at the book, and we're all collaborating and we answer the exam. And then he does it and then we all do it. Can we do that?
Cooperative learning.
Cooperative learning? It's not called cheating?
No.
What I'm trying to say is, in my classroom, I'm being recorded here. No, I'm just kidding. In my classroom, every single exam, every single quiz, every single thing that I gave was always open book, open laptop, open computer. I assign it on Thursday, give it to me on Friday. Why do you think I did that? Tell me.
So they won't cheat.
I just answered it right now, but why do you think I did it?
So they won't cheat like that.
They were already treating.
Because they're gonna, as soon as they leave high school, no, just as soon as they leave high school, what's gonna happen when they take a class online?
Oh, it's the same thing when you
It's
go.
the same thing. Now they know how to look for the answers. Now they know how to collaborate and ask each other, how do I work this out? Because many times the student will learn a lot more from another student than from what you just showed them yesterday or a week ago. Even though all my teachers were against that in my school, but I was a crazy teacher and it didn't matter to me. So, but they were always collaborating and asking each other, hey, what was the answer? How did you get it? And they were just going back and forth. And I never got that when I had a regular exam, that it was all a closed book, whatever the case is. And it's something they were gonna do when they get out of high school anyways. If you're at your job and your employer asks you to do something and you call another friend because you don't know how to do it, is he gonna fire you? He's gonna be very happy that you're collaborating, calling people on how to do it the correct way. He's gonna be happy that you're gonna use every single resource that you have to do it the correct way. And that's what I was teaching my students, instead of calling it the other word. I don't know why that popped up. Is somebody cheating here? Somebody was cheating? I don't know. Anyways, so I'm gonna create one single, unfortunately, hopefully Laredo can see this part. I can't do it live on your part. But I'm gonna create one slide for those of you who has probably not completed the entire assignment, or you have, at least you just get to see a little bit more, okay? Always know that if you answer the question, you always have the ability on the far right to hide their names, okay? So what is the number one reason you want to hide their names? Well, not really. Yes and no, but it's mostly embarrassment, okay? Because if they answered it incorrect, I see that. Really? You answered it, everybody got it right except you, and then that's kind of pinpointing the student, and it's very difficult for them to ever collaborate or participate in your class. The effective filter goes very high. What is the effective filter? You'll see that in your exam copy. What is the effective filter? The effective filter is, if the effective filter in your classroom is very low, that means that the student wants to collaborate in your classroom. That means that the student has somewhat of a different accent, they still want to talk in your classroom. That means that they like talking to their friends because they feel comfortable in the environment that's in your classroom. If the effective filter is super high, that means that it's a very quiet classroom, or maybe they just don't want to collaborate because of their accent. They're still not at that point where they feel that they want to talk when authority is up there. So the effective filter is high. Most of the time it's not because of the educator, because you're a bad educator. Many times the effective filter is very high because in that classroom there's someone that they like and they do not want to participate because they're afraid of being embarrassed. Okay, many times. Okay? So this is why this is very important. You always want to hide names. so that you just have an instant feedback if they're understanding what you're teaching. If they're not, and everybody gets it wrong, and then it's time to reteach right there on the spot, okay? So, over here, tells you how many has logged in. I have 73 right now that are logged in and looking at the Nearpod, all right? And over here where it says 19 out of, how many?
84.
Out of 84, if I click on it, it allows me to see all the slides that I've uploaded, and I can scroll. I wish I could do this, right? I can click here and scroll this way, I can scroll that way and go to the specific slide that I want. So if I want to start in the Kahoot, I grab it and I can just put it there, and that's where I'm going to start. All right? So that's what that is for. If I come over here, I'm going to click on, did you guys explore anything on your pod? Raise your hand if you did. Okay, I already answered someone over here who was already in the classroom. Who's in the classroom on this side? So you, Jessica, and who else? Just 3? So tell me what you're going to teach tomorrow.
Well, I don't have access to that yet. I'm in pre-K. I'm a parent in pre-K, but I could tell the teacher, you know, that there's different.
No, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. But no, what are you going to teach tomorrow? What are you going to help the teacher do tomorrow, whatever the case is? What is it you're going to do in the classroom?
I don't know. The lesson changes every day.
We're doing 6 weeks right now.
How's your fluency in the morning?
Fluency? So let's do fluency.
Ours changes every day.
That's fine. And then if I come over here and I go where it says explore, because as teachers, we have a million things to do, and the last thing you want to do is start recreating all these from scratch. So all you have to do is come over here where it says search for lessons. I'm going to say fluency. And it'll give you all the lessons that are in fluency. Now, the nice thing about it is, as teachers, you have to learn this, you never want to pay for anything. Because we're teachers, we don't make enough money. So where it says filters, you come over here, and you're going to select free. Okay? And you're going to say search. In other words, there's no way I'm going to pay you in your pod.
Just one.
Just one. You know, so now you have fluency. I'm going to look at it. If this is something that you want to use in the classroom, you can download it, edit it, and make it your own. You create a slide that has your name, your last name, your period, the classroom, whatever the case is. So if I look through it and you're like, yeah, this is something that I can use. It has the objectives, you know, that's fluency, man. Has a video, alligators. Now we have another math, so I can probably draw it or something. I can write on it.
No, we
So
don't it's free.
that's all these things. So if that's something that I want.
It's free 'cause it's got
If you notice over here where it says add to my library, you add it to your library. So now it's inside your Nearpod library, and you come over here where it says show in my library, and you're interested in using this one. So you're gonna say edit, right here where it says edit. It says, do you want to duplicate? No, I just want to edit the list. It'll open up and all the slides that you, just like you did your assignment. And let's just say right after here, you want to add your information and then create, you can either create the slide from scratch and put your information, or create a PowerPoint and upload only that information. But I can come over here and I can say add slide, and I want to add a slide. Okay, what kind of slide do you want? Let me look at my layout. I want this layout because I want to put my name here. This is my classroom now. I created this from scratch. And you can download pictures and whatever you want. Okay, so I'm going to save. Now it's mine. I can preview. So now it should say Mr. Granado. For some reason it doesn't. Did I do something wrong here? Did I not click save? You tell me. I did click save. Do I have to upload something here? Anybody know?
You have to pay.
Huh?
You're the expert.
No. I do not want to pay. I don't know why it's asking me to add something, but oh well. I'll add. I think your internet is slow one. I got a plain one here.
Your free trial
You see?
membership.
It says yes. My free trial has ended. So I'm gonna try one more time for from here, because I don't want to waste your time here. Of course, as a teacher, you would prepare all this at the time. This is something that I'm just going to save it. I don't even think I needed to add that. It's not showing, so something else, but oh well. I'll find out and tell you Monday. Okay, so now you see something else is happening. I'll find out what it is. I really think it's, but anyways, it would show, and then you would just go next. Okay? Now, let's go back. I'm gonna exit out. Now here, all of a sudden you say, you know what? Let me add a 3D image. You can click where it says Nearpod 3D, and you select whatever image that you want. So it says staff picks, and then you can start scrolling down and figure out what is it you want to do the plant cell. You can click there. You can save it. Now the next thing that they're gonna see is the plant cell. Come over here and you say, well, now I want to add a virtual field trip. So you click on virtual field trip. You look for one that you're interested in. If there's nothing here that you like, and then you go to YouTube, you look for a virtual field trip, and then you grab that URL and you add it. In this case, I'll just grab the one underwater. Now I have a virtual field trip. That's how simple it is. Come over here, you say, you know what? Now I want to add a video, and you add the video. I want to add a website. You come over here to activity, for example. Add a slide, activity. I want to add a quiz. Somebody asked about a quiz. So here it is. Give me a question, anybody.
What is chip plus chip?
Huh?
What are the 4 stages of that?
I'll just see like that. The 4 stages of what?
Of matter.
Of what?
Matter.
Matter. I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. And I'll act like it was a question. Oh yeah, I gave you it. Sure enough. Question. I'll just put quiz. I can make it first 5 minutes, whatever. First one? First option the student would have? Next one? Somebody give me the right answer?
What are the stages of matter?
Solid, gas,
plasma.
Is that all right? This is the right answer? No, it's good. This would be the right answer, so you have to make sure that you check the right answer. Somebody asked if they could add a diagram or some kind of a picture. It's right here. If you want to add some kind of media or picture or something to it, you can always do that. And you can actually, so you can have the diagram, whatever it is. So I'm going to save it. I already put the right answer. And I want to see so far how it's going to look. So there's my empty slide that doesn't want to appear. Or whatever. Ah, yay. It was probably generating. So yeah, it was Juan's fault. If I go next, and then I have the 3D image that we talked about. And then if I go next, we have the virtual reality field trip that the students can explore over the water. And then we have finally a question, because I just showed a couple of slides. You want to have a question with the students. The correct answer was Noe. Solid, whatever the case is, and you go next. Okay? So and you just continue. You get the idea of Nearpod? Okay, how to use that? And that's all. So if you're a math teacher, or you have a diagram, or you have something that you want the students to draw on, or you already had a PDF where the students could check mark, or do some kind of a writing, I don't know, but you already have something with you want the students to write on. And then you can come over here and you can add the slide. For example, I'm going to add a content to the slide. I hope I can find a very simple, I'm more sure I'm going to find it. But if I have there's a file. Let me see how big it is, because I don't want it to take forever here. I know if I put the mouse over it, it'll tell me the size, hopefully. And 43. So I'm going to grab it. I hope it's not a bad, it says teach. So slides. This is not my computer in case something comes up, but it says teach like a champion. Okay? So I say okay. And it's always going to go to the end. before when Nearpod came out, wherever you would right click, that's where the slide would go. Now it takes it all the way to the end and you have to drag it where you want it. Okay, so it's over here, over here. So I'm gonna grab it and let's just say this is the first slide that I want. Let's pretend it was math problems that they need to work out by hand. It's a science that they need to fill on the blanks, whatever the case is, that they actually need to write on it, okay? So in this PDF, the students need to write. So you come over here to the right where it says convert to draw it, and you click on it. It says you're about to create it from a slide. Do you want to keep a copy of the original slide? I don't. I just want it to become and draw it. If you say yes, it'll put the original one, and then it'll put one where the students can write on. Okay? So now, if I preview, and let's just say the students had to fill in some information or word problems or whatever the case is, now they can actually write on it. So now they can come over here, they can write on it, do whatever they have to. If it was a word column, I don't know. But now they can write on it. Okay? Good? Any questions so far?
All these slides can be printed out.
You can. Once you save and preview, you can actually download. So before I do that, any questions on this part on how to add a slide on the Nearpod?
Does the auto, do you save every slide that you create? Like save and exit? You hit the save and exit button?
It'll save automatic. So if you added 2 or 3 slides and the lights go off, it'll save the 2 or 3 slides. So you don't have to worry about losing all that work. Okay? So the little wheel is always running and saving automatically. The only thing you can do is save and exit at this point. Okay? All right. So let's go back to my slide over here. Not this one. Go to this one. So the only thing I'm going to show you next is how you can get the code for the students. Okay? And then after that, we'll move forward because I'm running out of time. So you know already that you can search for any Nearpod that's out there, for any subject, for any topic. Always go to the filters and say, I want the free ones. I want the free ones and I want it to be math. I want the free ones and I want it to be English. So you can actually select and filter out to whatever you want. So if I come here and I explore, I don't know if you saw that part, and I say fractions, fractions, and I search, in the filter, I have an option here. I want the free. Not only that, show me all the math only. Not only that, but show me the ones that are for 6th grade. And it'll filter down to that. Very specific, so that you're not sitting there searching for everything that has to do with your topic. And uses all the free ones that are available. Okay? Good? Good. So, so now I have a student, or I have students that I know that are absent a lot because they're migrants, immigrants, right? Migrant workers, yeah, I said it right, migrant. I used to be a migrant teacher, so like I said it right, I hope I said it right. But anyway, so this is the assignment that I want to give out to the students, and maybe I know that this assignment is going to last a couple of days, and the PowerPoint, etc. So when I come here, you see this little 3 dots? You can click that to share it, or you can come here where it says student paste. If I click on student paste, it'll give me a code in which I can provide to the students. If I have my own classroom website, and then I can put that code available on the website, or if I have a list of all their emails, because you did the inventory at the beginning of the year, you can do that and just send it out and also have it on your website. Or hand it out, I don't know, however it is that you want to do it. This code only is going to last you 30 days. After the 30 days, it's going to expire, and the students are no longer going to have access to this code. Okay? And if you have Google Classroom. All right. You guys already went through these options, is that correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I can come over here, and did you guys look at reports? Okay. The reports just gives you here I had 39 participants, but if I had an open-ended question, and then this is all the answers and the grades. If I had a quiz, I would get all of all the quiz reports. So if a student is doing this at their own pace at home, and whenever they click submit or they're done, you're gonna get all that data in front of you. So, and they never showed up to your class. They were at home, whatever happened, etc. An accident, they have to be away for 4 days, whatever the case is, okay? So, the draw it, I mean, you have all that information there. And you can always print it, give it to your administrator for documentation, in case they ask for it, there it is. It's always on the cloud, so if the school burns down, guess what? Go somewhere else, go to nearpod.com, download your documentation. It's always in the cloud, so it's never gonna disappear and go anywhere. Okay? All right. Any questions on Nearpod? If I'm not mistaken, Mr. Rivera has used Kahoot a lot with you guys, or no? So you understand how to use Kahoot. Have you gone to Kahoot and explored also? Have you gone to, how do you get to Kahoot as an educator?
Kahoot.com.
I was hoping somebody was gonna say Kahoot.it. So the teacher goes to getkahoot.com, and there, if you're gonna teach the water cycle, if you're gonna teach fractions, whatever it is that you're gonna teach, you can go to search, look for it, and it's already done for you. And the questions are already there. You edit it and make it your own. That is a good thing about all these resources. I don't know if Mr. Olvera did that part, but if I go to, I'm gonna close out. So if I go here, I can explore any Kahoots that I want besides the ones that I already have, where it says find Kahoots. And now tell me something that you want to teach, Jessica, that you're gonna teach tomorrow. You said you were in the classroom, right?
Well, I'm studying.
Okay.
So I'm not teaching, I'm just getting out.
What class is it?
Wherever I go. Tomorrow I'm actually
Oh.
teaching elementary.
Where'd you go today?
Today I did 4th grade.
Como?
Fourth
grade.
grade.
And what were they learning?
Different stuff. I mean, they do every subject.
You let them do whatever they want to do. Okay, so hold on, let me get in the camera. She let them,
No, it just depends what subject. I mean, they're learning about, let's see, for example, on math, they're doing multiplication.
Okay.
Which I'm horrible at.
That's really. So you'll find a lot of Kahoots that are already done for multiplication for many grade levels, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So you can come over here and say, you know what, this is the one I want to use, and you start playing. The students grab their devices, enter the PIN number, and you start. Okay, so it'll start in a couple of seconds. We'll do the classic, and then we're there. Okay, so you don't have to sit there and say, man, by the time I create all this, but I don't have time. Ya sé por dónde me serve. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so the $1 million question. Has anybody in here created a classroom website? Okay, answering your devices. Laredo, you can answer your devices. And I'm gonna put, do not show me the names. Para no pelear con nadie. Okay? If you have not created a classroom website, I'm asking you to leave today, create a username and a password for whatever website that you want to use as your server. It's all free, okay? Wix, that's one, wix.com. I would recommend Weebly only because I've been using it. Doesn't mean it's the best one out there. Okay? So yes, Weebly, weebly.com. You would add the word education in front of it. So you would put education.weebly.com. The reason you do that, and it's very important that you do this, because if you just create a regular Weebly account, it'll allow you like 6 pages and that's it. But if you create an educational account, and then it allows you to create unlimited pages and do unlimited things in the website.
So how do you
Okay? So make sure that when you create the username, it says education.weebly, that's weebly.com. That'll allow you full access And it's a plug and play type of website that you'll say, man, this is so easy. It's plug and play. You just drop whatever you need.
That's to create our own?
Your own classroom website.
The education that we do?
Mhm. Okay. So I have many no's, one yes, and many almost everybody no. So with the digital natives that you have in front of you, create the classroom website, because now it's going to be mandated that every single student has an e-portfolio before they even graduate. Okay? And you don't want those students to leave high school and not even know how to interact, not even know how to do a quiz online and collaborate with their friends, not know how to do an assignment online when they're given to them by the professors. So you want to prepare the students for all this so they can be ready for it. An e-portfolio will take your student a very long way. There is not one student that went through my classroom that does not have an e-portfolio. And this is 11 years ago. I was using, I think it was pvworks.com, and from pvworks I went to education.wv.com. If you talk to any one of my students 11 years back, every single one of them has an e-portfolio. If they continue to use it after I left, I don't know. But if they did and they graduated and they're still growing on it, imagine the job possibilities that they're gonna have. Imagine when an employer says, you know, the kid says, look, here's my e-portfolio, look at it. And it shows them since they've been in middle school, in high school, and now it's graduation. All the activities they've done, everything they've uploaded. Every single one of my students had a website, and I would show them how to use the website, how to create the website, and that was one of the assignments that they had to submit and show me the link. So they would go to the Google form, they would put their first name, their last name, and the link to their website. I would go to their website, and that's where they would submit their work. I would download it and put it in my desktop. Okay, once you get into the rhythm, I didn't do it overnight. Once you get into the rhythm, it becomes very simple, okay? And here, for some reason, I don't see it, but if I put the mouse over it, I'm gonna send it just so you can have an idea. But this is a sample of a student website. And if I come here to where it says hobby, music, my portfolio, holidays, trying to see here, blog, they have a blog, hobby, games, my portfolio. This is all their information. You know, but the only reason I do this is that you can have an idea and not be blank if you want the students to start from scratch, okay? If you look at the website as an educator, this is my website when I was, my last school I did was a high school. I went from middle school to high school to administration, but 99% of everything that I did was online through technology resources. There's never ever a paper handed over to me, ever. I didn't even have to be in the classroom if I really didn't want to, because everything was online, everything was submitted. They came to us at the campus, and they said the students must be writing the first 5 minutes of class, and they told this to all the subjects, including me, that I was teaching computers, networking, and I was teaching other preps. And I said, fine. You know, so I went to the blog. I went here. I created a blog, and I went to blog writing. And every day I had something different, and the students would write about it. So, you know, Patrick, Jesus, the first 5 minutes of class, they would start writing, or typing in this case, right? So I have documentation forever and ever that I can show. This is back in 2013.
When the G-Force was up, yeah? Graphics card G-Force?
It ain't, no. So, yes. So, guess what? I had everything you can think of. If you go through my site, if you want to write it down, so if you have an idea, if you want to do your site, I mean, mine has been building it for years and years, but an example of the topics that you can have. In other words, these links right here that you should have, okay? If I'm absent, all I do is leave a little note and tell the substitute, go to itechgranado.com and click on where it says substitute, and that's all I had to do. So the substitute will come here. He or she knew what was expected. These are the assignments. This is the schedule. Here's the fire drill in case it happens. Rainy days. I mean, I had everything in there. Okay. and it was always available. Okay, the grades, if the students want to look at their grades, they go to the first 6 weeks. My first period, they can click here. I always included the grades without the names, and that's how they would look at it. I don't know if it's still available. I wonder if it is. Yeah, so they can see the grades without the name, only the student ID.
It's a small class.
Okay.
It's a small class. That's true.
The projects were there. So if a student wanted to pace themselves and they're very tech savvy and they love the classroom, they can go through all the projects and finish them in time. They didn't have to wait for me. They didn't have to wait for my deadlines. As long as that a week, when I go in there and check my assignments, it better be there. If they want to finish the assignments that I have for the whole year, let it be. And then whenever I give the exams, they knew when the exam was due. Everything is online. Very, very useful for the students. All right, so itechcanal.com, if you ever want to come in and look through this, you can, and just get ideas on how I went about this. Remember that, I don't know if I already took it out, but I think it's where it says highlights, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's not the highlights. Help. So I don't know if there's anything up there anymore. No. So this is the what is it called? The parking lot that I was talking about. If students ever had any questions, they would come here to the parking lot. They would grab the little sticky note and move it over to the, they would ask the questions. So that's a parking lot that I would use, and I would always go in there. So they knew to go in there, and it looks something like this. It looks something like this. They would grab a little sticky note, put it there, they would ask their question. I'm gonna put no again. And they could add a link, they could add a picture, whatever it is, and they would put the question. I would go back in there, read their question, and then I would click on it and I would answer the question from here. So I could, since I'm the editor, I could edit it. Other than that, nobody else can go in there and overwrite. But you can as a teacher.
You added this as part of the website, or is this something separate?
In my case, I embedded it into the website, yes.
Would they get a notification if you replied to their question?
Yeah, you can set it up so that every time somebody submits a little post, you get a notification. Okay, almost, and I'm pretty sure this is true, every single thing that I've shown you, you can put a notification. If somebody submitted an assignment on Schoology, it would notify me. And I would check my phone wherever I was at that they submitted. If they had a question or a comment, I would also see that on my phone. If I was away from school. But I was in school and I would see it there in front of me. Okay, technology resource is very powerful. I don't know if I already said this, but there was a time that I was in the classroom and everybody was running like crazy. And I was like, did I not get the memo? What happened here? Did I already say that or not? Mas, it was only you.
No, you said that you went, oh yeah, because we were speaking.
So what happened is I go out, what was his name? Like this. So I go out and then I ask the teachers, hey, what's going on? Well, the grades are due today. We're supposed to do other and so forth. They kept going on and on. I'm thinking, it's already done. The students already click and submit. I have everything on Schoology, I have everything on the cloud. All I have to do is click on the assignments, look at the grades, and then pass it over to the grade suite. And it checks it automatically for you. If they're actually doing a writing assignment, you can actually click on the cloud, and you'll have the writing assignment here, the student's name on that side, and you get to actually have a little highlighter and a marker and start correcting. Like if you're doing English or reading or whatever the case is, you can actually correct it by hand. And then on the right side, you put the little grade on there. You got a 40, you got a 50, you got a 60, whatever the case is. And then the student sees the grade, agrees or doesn't agree. Either way, the grade is there, but they can always make the comment, look sir, this is why I put this. Oh, okay, I didn't know that's what you meant. So here's an extra 10 points. It's all digital.
So your tests and stuff are?
Everything is on Schoology. Schoology. So remember that since I started the PowerPoint, the QR codes, the Google form, the Schoology, the Weebly, it's all integrated and played a part of your instruction. It's not just Google Forms. It's not just Weebly. It's not just a QR code. It's all, you start integrating everything in there. Okay? Videos, avatars, whatever it is that you use.
And the level of schools now,
Yeah,
what percentage would you say is technology integrated, like now, with teachers? Like doing this? 50%, 25%?
I would say
20.
about 25%. Statistically, here in the Rio Grande Valley, we're always 15 years behind. That's research, that's not me saying it.
Right.
So, you go even as far as, I'm thinking San Antonio, maybe that's even too close. They're probably like 8 years behind, and maybe still more advanced than where we're gotten to.
Is it because?
And it's not that the technology is not here. It's a mindset of the people. I'm not talking about the technology, I'm talking about the mindset. Okay, technology is, you can grab it and use it. But at what point are those teachers gonna feel comfortable to say and understand that it's not them that they need to run
Is
with
there
the technology?
is there training
it's
and
your students that
development
need to
for
run with
this?
the technology.
Is there training and development for this?
There is, once you get into the campuses. I know that many campuses have their IT or TST people in every campus that they train the teachers how to use the technology. Many times they just get frustrated because the teachers don't want to use it and they just stop using it. I can give you millions of examples where many things are stored away and are never used because nobody wants to mess with it. Nobody wants to touch the technology. I found the distant learning equipment at my campus. It was four of them. 4 distant learning equipment at my campus because I was going through the closets and going through everywhere. I was looking for actually laptops. And I said, what is this? I called a number, I called a 1-800 number. Oh, you guys are ready for us to go train you? And I'm thinking, first let me find out what it is. What's a distant learning equipment where you can talk to NASA and you can talk, they can show you the moon, they can show you the sun, you can go to anywhere in the world.
Right.
Okay. So I started contacting everybody and they come and they train me and they train the campus and then I train the campus and next thing you know, we're collaborating with NASA. Everybody's looking at the sun that is live. Everybody gets to see. We even traveled as far as, I don't know where it was, but there was a lady with a bunch of dogs and a sled, and there was a word that she's supposed to say, and then the dogs go, and I forgot that word because it was many years ago, but she allowed the students to say that word, and this is all live. The students say the word, and the dogs go, and they're a whole different part of the world. We even got to see the astronauts live floating on the shuttle. It wasn't recorded. They were floating in the shuttle talking to the students. And this is 10 years ago, 11 years ago. And actually, in my case with BISD, every elementary has one of those, every middle school, and only one high school. And until now, I guarantee you that I haven't used it. I don't think anybody has been using it. They're probably still in the closet somewhere.
You think it's probably because of lack of training?
Well, being a risk taker as an educator, if you're gonna go in there, punch in, do your daily work, and then leave, then it's never gonna be explored. But if you're gonna go in there and be a crazy teacher and really make a difference with the students, and then you're gonna look around for all these things that the students wanna see, that the students wanna.
Like you're saying that teachers don't wanna grab the.
If they did, they would already been using it.
Right, but maybe because of lack of training?
That's why I say, don't wait for that and let the student run with it.
Okay.
Imagine if I would have waited there until somebody came and trained me. I just got the stuff, started plugging it in, and said, you know what, this guy is crazy, let me go train him. And they went to go train us.
I think
If other than that, they would have trained us.
That the technology's come because just this year, my daughter's been in 5th grade and she's always attended the same school. All the 5th graders got a Verizon laptop. And so, parents had to go in and sign off on it, and it's for homework. They can't YouTube or anything on it. And so she's carrying actually a laptop and it's all for homework. And
I know Harlingen gets iPads.
Yeah, she's
All
got
the
an
students
email and she's got everything that she can access there. And I know that was one of the the questions that the young lady had in regards to, how can some kids that are, don't have the means to buy that. I think the schools are trying to, provide that for them, because even before 5th grade, she's had an email since I believe she was like in 2nd or 3rd grade. I would take her to the library because I didn't have a computer at home, and she would click into it and math by science or science through math or something like that.
Yeah.
She's been doing that since she was back in 2nd, 3rd grade. And so now I'm hooked up with the teacher through a remind kind of email.
No, que you were not tech savvy, mira.
Yeah, messaging, and she hooked me up to it, and now it's awesome because I just communicate with the teacher, on a daily basis. Le pongo gorro because, but I told her, you hooked me on it, now I'm hooked, so any question I have, I'll let her know. So it's awesome, I really, really like that.
Yeah, and imagine you doing that with the students in the classroom. The parents are gonna feel the same way as you feel. Let me take it a little step further. For those of you who are full-blown digital immigrants like me, I said before that the students know, and even my son, they know a lot more than we do. And I remember my Alexis, my kid, my son, he was smarter than me on something, and he said, see that? I'm smarter than you, and you have the degree. I said, yes, you are. And when he went to the room, this is what I did. He went to the room, he estaba, that he was so smarter than me. So I went to the wonderful network because I have a master's and I have a bachelor's in computer science. And I disconnected the internet. I disconnected the internet, sat down like if nothing happened, and you see all my kids salir como los roaches when you turn on the light. Salieron todos, and I'm thinking, I'm faking like if I don't know what in the world's going on. And he goes, Dad, the computer doesn't want to work. I go, no, the computer works. Let me turn it on. Yeah, it works. Well, mine doesn't want to work. Well, let me see. I turn it on. It works. Remember you said you were smarter than me? Make it work. Use Microsoft, use PowerPoint, use whatever the computer offers you. What do you mean? There's no internet. The internet has nothing to do with the computer. The computer works. It turns on. So see, they know how to browse and how to go online and how to do the cloud. But ask them to do a PowerPoint, ask them to do a Microsoft Word, ask them to do an Excel, ask them to look at what the computer really offers. They don't know how to use that. They have no idea. Just by CNN going on there and showing that kid with the Game Boy that all she wanted to do is grab the screen and never could figure out what the buttons were for. It's the same thing with the computer. They have no idea. They don't know what F1, F2, F3. They don't know what none of that is. All they do know is how to go online. Okay? And for those of you who are going to become teachers for computers, that you're going to teach Microsoft, Excel, make sure you guys do a really good job because that's the only opportunities they're ever going to have. Other than that, they're going to be like me, where I'm creating an Excel online through, what is it called online? Google Sheets instead of Excel, right? Instead of Microsoft Word, what is it called online? Google Docs. Instead of PowerPoint, what is it called online? Google Slides. Okay? What's the difference between both is that with all the ones that I said over here, which is your Google Sheets, your Google Slides, and your Google Docs, the difference between that is that now I can collaborate between me and you, and you saw that we can all be typing at the same time. You see that collaboration? I cannot do that if I'm in front of a computer. That's the only difference. The collaboration part, the big one. Okay?
But you don't know if it works with Apple. Like Keynote.
Yeah, it works.
It does work?
Well, all that worked with Apple, yeah. You were asking something else? You were asking if Nearpod worked with Apple?
Like the Keynote.
Oh, Nearpod, I don't know. But this does. Like if you use Google Docs.
That's what I'm thinking, that's what happened there.
Yeah. Probably so. You threw me off on that one. But, that's what time is it? Oh my God. So behind. Poll everywhere. Have anybody ever used this one before? I like to use this one in the first 5 minutes of class. Maybe as an exit ticket. That's how I use it in the classroom. Not too much with an in-between. But it's totally up to you on it. And I also use it for cultural awareness in this part. So if you have a phone and you want to use poll everywhere, and then that's something that you can do here. So all you have to do is either text to this number. I'm trying to maximize it, but I think the internet is beating me to it. Or if you have a desktop or a laptop, and then you can go to pooev.com, and that'll go away here. So you can do two things. You can text BISD 873 to that number. In other words, you grab your phone, you go to your text messages, and where it asks you what number you want to use, you're going to use 37607. That's the phone number. Like if it was the phone number that you were typing in, what message do you want to send? Well, I want to send BISD 873. I believe it's not case sensitive, Once you do that, this is gonna pop up right here. So if you don't have a phone and you're using your laptop, and then just, you can enter that right there, pooev.com/BISD873. So go ahead and do that and start answering, and this is all live documentation. Juan, I guess you can ask if Laredo can see that information, because I went from Nearpod to a regular. Can they see that or not? I guess, huh? They cannot see it? Okay. So,
Says you haven't opened it.
huh?
Says you haven't opened it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna send it to them.
Wait, so.
If it allows me from here.
So you're gonna try this?
Yeah, pooev.com, right? pooev.com, and then what was it? BISD 873? So I'm gonna send it to them right now. Those of you that are using your laptops, just open a new tab. Laredo should already got it.
It's 8-7.
Nobody has answered. Answer the question. It says.
Already answered.
It says
What?
you have not
Really?
opened the poll
Yeah,
What does it say?
said your presenter, Noe Granado, has not opened a poll yet.
Yeah.
Oh my god, man. Did it work there? Yeah.
No, no.
So it was my fault.
I didn't vote for that.
And as he says, the presenter, oh my god. So, if you want instant feedback for the first 5 minutes of class, this is something that you can do. If you want a little poll or a question, whatever the case is. In my case, you know, I would have started probably with this and see how my audience, how many digital immigrants and digital natives I have in the audience. And it would show me, you know, what is your level of technology. The Professor Girafales would be like, you're just the top, you love technology, you know, you're very tech savvy. The Chilindrina, and Kiko, and then are you like a chavo no sabe nada? You know. So many things that are happening here when I'm doing something like this in the classroom. Because if you notice during your PPR, you have to do cultural awareness, and this is how I would use cultural awareness in the classroom. It could have been Star Wars, and you grab the characters from Star Wars, maybe what is it, Chewbacca, or what is it called, will be way at the bottom. R2B2 would probably be way on the top, or I don't know. You know.
Did you say Obi-Win?
Huh?
Did you say Obi-Win?
RB2, no? See, I'm not, what is that?
Oh my god.
I'm not good at Star Wars. What is it called?
Sir,
You see,
technology people
I'm in
usually
trouble with this guy, and I'm in trouble with Juan. Can you walk me out before I leave? What is it called? R2B2?
R2D2.
Huh?
John, how many years?
Arturito? I used to use that joke. Arturito? Oh, sorry. R2.
D2.
D2? I got it right. And no me hizo caso y ahora sí con Star Wars. So you get the grip of using this kind of software in the classroom, okay? So I'm gonna exit out. I just wanted to show and get a feel. So I get 50% of my audience that did participate are very tech savvy at this point. Beatles.
Well, I don't know about the cultural diversity.
I know, man. They're very proud of technology. Since I'm gonna be able to, I'm gonna actually be lucky enough to see you on Monday again. What I'm saying this because I might not get through all the PPR questions. We'll do them at the beginning of the class when we come back. Oh man, you guys already know the answers and you've seen them. You know, so let's look at this one right here. Go ahead and read it on your own.
See.
You see it. See? Okay. So you guys have already gone through the questions, know most of the answers. What I do want to express is that you can do what I did when I was getting ready for the PPR and my test. I definitely knew what the domains were, what percentage the domains were. Not only that, but you gotta understand that domain 1 is 34%, but what does it consist of in your classroom? What is domain 1 when you're thinking about the PPR? Domain 1, 34%, what does it consist of? What is something that you have to be ready for when you go into the classroom?
Instruction.
The design of the instruction, right? So always think of that we have here, the design of the instruction for whatever the case is. study that and know it. So when you're reading the question, are they talking about me going to the classroom and understanding that I need to be ready with my lesson plans? Do I have my walls ready? Have I prepared everything that I need before the first day of class? And if that question is designed to that, you already know that you're talking about domain 1, okay? And then domain 2 is what? 13%, and that's what? Creating a positive environment in your classroom, right? Maybe doing the UPR, maybe understanding that you have digital natives in front of you. Maybe you did the crazy thing that I did by accident. I have 3 kids. My middle daughter, she was asking me how to help her out with her assignment. And when she did that, I sat there on the table and was showing her how to do science. She started to walk around, move around, and I said, Valerie, you want me to help you? You want me to sit here and help you do the science and explain to you? I need you to sit down and stay put in one place. That never happened. So 2 days later, it happens again, and I don't know why the teacher instinct kicked in, and I said to myself, wait, this happens to you on the campus, and what do? And you know that you have different students in front of you. The same thing happens with my kids. So because of my daughter, I said, you know what? I'm gonna allow her to do whatever she wants. I'm gonna continue saying what I'm saying, expressing what I'm expressing, and showing her everything. And I'm gonna say, now you try it. So I did that, and when she tried it, she did everything perfectly and was listening to every single word that I was saying. And after that, I went back to school, and this is when I told all my students that if you want to sit down, you can sit down. If you want to be on the floor, you can be on the floor. If you want to stand up and walk around, you can stand up and walk around. You do whatever it is that you want to do that you feel comfortable in the classroom, as long as that when I'm doing instruction, everybody's listening. And when I give the assignment, everybody's working the assignment. If you want to work an assignment on the floor, you work an assignment on the floor.
But that's high school.
No, that's middle school. It worked perfectly. I was like, thank you, Valerie. It worked perfectly. I mean, students were on the floor, and after that, I started to look for different, what is it called, couches and things that people would give around, and I would have that in my room. So I had students sitting on the floor, sitting on the couches, standing up, walking around. I was teaching, everybody was listening, everybody was trying the assignments, academics were going up. So I'm throwing it out there just because of the creating a positive environment. As simple as that. I went into my classroom one day, and this was back in middle school again, and I said, I want you to write for the first 5 minutes of class, and I want you to tell me what you would do with $1 million. And then I sat down, started checking my emails, doing my stuff, and 2 minutes later, I look up, nobody is writing. And I'm thinking, did I not make myself clear? Students, what would you do with $1 million? That's all I need you to do. Did everybody understand? Yes, okay. A minute later, I look up, nobody's writing. So what's happening there? Can you tell me?
They can't picture what $1 million is?
They have no idea what $1 million is. I mean, tell me and I'll resign right now. I have no idea. And I'll stop the video, I'm gone. I'm just kidding, right on that. Or ace it. But, you're gonna hire me anymore after this one. But the teacher instinct keeps kicking in, and I said I thought what he thought, out of nowhere. And I said, let's make it better. What would you do with $100? Everybody started writing. Everybody, I would buy this, I would do that. And man, I wasted $100 in a couple of minutes. Just going to the movies at $60, $40 for the popcorn, I'm done. Now it's over. Give me $1 million, I'll take everybody to the movies. But they actually sat there and everybody was writing. So just be aware of your surroundings in the classroom. The 33% is domain 3. That's after you've designed what it is that you're going to do in the classroom. You have the creative, positive environment, and now you're ready to implement and pull out your instruction. I'll give you a little tip of advice for those of you who are already in the classroom or about to start the classroom. Make sure you have vanilla abstract, or what is it called, abstract?
Extract.
Extract. And make sure you have that in the wall, because research says that it calms student down. If you ever been into the MRI, that they put you through the machine and you hear that thing, it gets people nervous. And anytime you go to the hospital, they have that in the wall. The reason they have it is so you can calm down. Okay? So little things like that you can have in your classroom will make a big difference on what happens in your classroom. Okay? I ain't go a lot more, but
Free shots of Benadryl.
So, administration would always ask, what is that ice that you have under your hands? I found it. But so crazy. I said ISIS and I remembered you because you said something about illegal. We had a teacher arrested for selling illegal drugs to our students. She wanted to join every single after-school activity. Now we know why. It was amazing. Every single activity she wanted to join, it was after school. Well, a student came up to us and told us that she was actually selling drugs. It was a science teacher. So it was amazing. It was amazing. So that's why, like, I'm crazy, but not that crazy. You know, I don't allow students into the apparently I'm not that crazy. Domain 4 is just fulfilling your professional development. I think someone on this side asked. Someone on this side was asking that who's going to teach you all this? Okay. Keep in mind, this is just me. Nobody has, you're going to be your own self. But there's never a time that I approached my administration and I said, is there a professional development that I go to? Can I go to? Can you send me somewhere? And I was always asking. So anytime there was something going on, the first person they would call was who? Me. Do you want to go so and so? I do. But if I had something, then they would send. But the first person they would call was me.
Yeah.
I always wanted to go. I'll never forget walking into the administration office because I was going to eat lunch and I was a teacher at a high school, and I saw everybody having a meeting, and I said, "Oops, sorry." So I went, "No, come in," and he said, and everybody starts whispering and says, "What about Noe?" And I go, "What about me?" He says, "Do you want to go to Boston?" "When?" "Tomorrow." "Sure." Call my wife. "Hey, get my clothes ready. I'm going to Boston." "When?" "Tomorrow." "What?" You can hear. What do you mean going to? "Yeah, I'm going for 5 days." And they sent me because an administrator did not want to go to Boston, and they knew that I always want to go to all the trainings in the world. And they sent me to Boston, so I was in Boston for 5 days. A week later, the bombing happened, so that was amazing.
Oh my God, scary.
But just putting yourself out there and saying, "Send me. I want to do it." Go look for stuff that is in the closet. Go look for stuff that is hiding that nobody wants to use, and go on with it, especially when it comes to technology. That's that. So every time I was in the car, I had my little index cards. I remember you because you said index cards. Sorry, but I had index cards, and I had all these written down. What are they called?
Competencies.
Yes. And I had these domains with the percents. And every time I had a chance and there was a stoplight or I was waiting for my kids they're cutting their hair, I was always going through those. Because when you do the PPR, you do your main test, you know when they ask a question, okay, they're talking about this domain. And they're talking about number 9, whatever the case is. And now you know how to answer the question. Other than that, you go off and you answer something else because you don't know what domain you're talking about. So be very familiar with your domains and how they function and how you will answer the question. Okay, you guys got it correct. We talked about digital immigrants, so that's something we don't have to go by. I'm gonna skip today's meet, but I do want to tell you about it. If you want to have a conversation with your students, maybe a big issue happened. I'll tell you. I'm not telling you the whole story, but I'll tell you a huge issue that happened in my school, and that was that one of the teachers was found drunk on the side of the highway. Besides our students being crazy now, the bad thing about it is when they searched the car, it had a lot of porn in it, a lot of student porn. And a lot of that student porn were students themselves.
Oh my, but you mean like from his classroom?
I'm not gonna elaborate.
Oh my God.
But what I'm saying is sometimes there's bullying, sometimes there's something going on, sometimes you don't know and you just want to start a conversation with the class and you have this technology available, you can go to today's meet, and you know, we're not going to do the whole thing today, but it would be something like this, and we would start having a conversation, okay? Even people from Laredo would be able to.
Please tell me nobody started a conversation about that.
No. I'm saying, I'm being over exaggerating.
Okay.
But if you know that there's some bullying going on and you want to talk about what would you do in this case and not pinpoint anybody out, or you want to talk about be non-contingent and talk about fishing, because you know that student that never allows you to continue instruction in class likes fishing, and then you talk about fishing and about camping, about whatever it is that you want that has nothing to do with the school environment. There's times in my classroom that I had to stop instruction, sit down, and say, how was everybody's weekend? Out of nowhere. Because I couldn't control the class, everybody was crazy, it started to rain, everybody was excited. It's just one of those days. And this is what I'm talking about. I could have stopped, I had the technology, go to today's meet, let's talk about how your weekend was.
So does everybody sees everything? Okay.
You're having just a regular conversation. Are they gonna go crazy on you? Are you gonna be a risk taker that they're gonna put FU, they're gonna put something else? Yes, they probably will, especially if you're in middle school. But it's things that they learn along the way that if they feel they're part of your team, it's very, very rare that they're gonna wanna embarrass you in class. But, you know, there's a lot more to it, but I'm just throwing that out.
All this is like pretty much in your schools, they can monitor everything that you do.
Anything that goes through the internet and being monitored and picked up by the TST or the network specialist.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like,
So if you're one of the teachers that, let's just say you're gonna have a private conversation with a student, it's gonna be recorded at any point in time. They can always go back to that. So yes. All right.
and you probably would want it there too.
Huh?
And you probably would want it there too.
Yeah, you always want to leave everything open and available for any administrator for yourself, except the students don't have full access where they can delete stuff.
The school that I had was student teaching 10 years ago. A lady got fired because she was downloading movies from and showing them to her kindergarten class. So that's what I'm saying. Like everything you do.
Well, as an educator, you know that if you're going to download or show a movie, there has to be a
reason why.
Education.
Yeah. No, she was like, I think it was like the Avengers or something like that.
My first year of school, after the STAR exam was over, I put everything away and I had nothing to do with the STAR in my classroom. I put everybody in the corner, turned off the lights, and I was watching a movie. Principal comes in. Mr. Granado, what are you doing? Watching a movie. We're STAR testing. Oh, I don't have any STAR materials in my room. We're STAR testing. Everybody needs to be in their desk, putting their head down. Oh, okay. So everybody gets in their desk, puts their hairs down. She comes back 5 minutes later with a write-up. I do the write-up. 5 years later, she continues to be my boss. 10 years later, she continues to be my boss. So it's funny that now we work together, we present together, and we do all these professional developments together. And every time we're presenting, I say, she gave me a write-up. And she's like, stop saying that. You gave me a write-up. She had a reason to, right? She had a reason. But just to show you, to throw it out there, educators never hold a grudge on students. It'll always be, because it'll never be the other way around. A student will misbehave, and you think, and you'll be so mad, and so because every day he misbehaves, but he or she will never hold a grudge against you. 5 minutes later, she'll forget or he'll forget, and he'll misbehave again. But you as teachers and as educators, you have the unique ability to perfect your craft. So if I come over here, I had a teacher one time that was a coach, and he told the students, get the hell out of my room. Parent came in, everybody went crazy. The next day, same behavior, same things going on. You have the unique ability to perfect your craft and say, this time I'm going to control myself and I'm not going to say get the hell out of here. This is what I'm going to say. So if you have a student right here who says this is boring, whatever the case is, and you know how to diffuse that, and you did it the wrong way, and then 5 minutes later, guess what she's going to say again? This is boring. Now you have a unique ability to correct it, and this time hopefully do it right. And it just goes on and on. So those teachers are out there that say that get rid of their students and send them to ISS, guess what? They're coming right back. Might as well take care of it, of the behavior, and teach the behavior, because remember, they're waiting for you to dig for them. Teach the behavior the right way, because there's no such thing as a bad student. There's what? Bad behavior. Okay? You teach anytime you're in a parent conference and you're there because a student did something super bad, you're never gonna say, this is, what's your first name? Hector. I know Hector for a while, I don't remember. This Hector did Hector, and what's Hector gonna do? He's gonna depend that he's a good boy. So I'm never gonna target Hector. I'm gonna target what? The behavior. I'm gonna say Hector's a real good boy. I know that. But this is the behavior that happened. And this is how you take care of it. I'm gonna teach the behavior. It's little things that you do in the classroom. All right, we talked about Class Dojo. How much time do I have? Yeah, I'm actually doing pretty good time.
5 minutes.
Good. Yeah, tengo 10 minutes. Oh my God. 8:26. Laredo 10? 10? Okay, 10. WordSip. WordSip allows you to grab an entire content. And what we have 10 minutes, but this is what we're going to do your assignment that you had. You were supposed to go into this, I think it was Dr. Corbet, and he always has different resources of technology that you can use in the classroom. It's always updated because he's a professor for UTRGV and he teaches these classes every single day. So it's always updated. If you go to his blog, there's always something new. So your assignment was to go in there and look at the blogs and see what catches your attention, and you write something that you thought that maybe is something you can use in the classroom when you become an educator or you're in the classroom with the students. What was gonna happen there is you were gonna actually, just so that you know, go back to Google Forms and you were gonna submit your answer right here. Once you submit the whole 3-sentence, 2-sentence, 4-sentence, your thoughts into it, and then it was gonna take me to an Excel file with all the information that you submitted, okay? So once, this is how, I'm showing you how you can integrate it into your classroom. I'm not showing off what would have happened. This is something that you can do in your classroom. When the students are submitting the work, even if they're at home and they're submitting the work, the following day, you can have all this information. And then you can see what the main idea was. So if I grab all this, I'm gonna grab what I can, I don't know, copy, and I go to wordsiv.org. So I'm gonna go to it right now. wordsiv.org. I think it was .org. Okay? And I paste that information here. And then I say, give me WordSip. And then it'll generate and spit out the main idea at one point. And this is something that you can have your students do. Like if you're working on the main idea or you want them to summarize, etc. So whatever was worded the most is what's going to start popping up. So somehow my name was there several times, but I did that on purpose. Because if you do an assignment with students, when they're working it on at their own time, at their own pace, either in the classroom or at home, and they upload it somewhere where you have access to, like a classroom website, you want to know who it belongs to. So what happened here? How come my name came up? What I'm asking you.
Yeah, you had it on the first
You had it on the first line.
Not only that, but how did it say that no granada was the main idea? Because we're talking about the main idea, the main topic of this entire article. They just say it was a 2-page article. And you don't want to go and read the whole thing. And you just want to find out what the topic or the main idea was. Why did my name pop up the most? I mean, I said the answer, right? Why did my name pop up? I said the answer. Yeah, I told him, yeah, I've got them 5 minutes. Hey, don't look at the door yet, wait. Help me hold them back. All right, I put my name there like 20, 30 times. So trick the system that I was the main topic, so my name would appear at one point. So I tell the students to do that so I can know who it belongs to. Something you can do in the classroom if you want. So we have this time 10 minutes. And not according to my watch. Let me see your watch. Mira, faltan como 15 minutos en his.
Mine's atomic time.
No, 10 minutes.
I don't know what time zone you think.
What time are we following? I'm just kidding. So word says is something that you can use in the classroom. We will go to this on Monday because I don't want to kill you. So we only have like 10 minutes of class. And before we do the 10 minutes, I want to do an activity with you. You're going to draw. I'm just kidding. You're going to sit there and you're going to draw. Ya me está matando con los ojos. Okay, you're not going to draw. I want you to pick out the toughest, tallest person you see in here. Toughest, tallest person that you see in here. That you know can handle me. Except one. Except one. The toughest, tallest, biggest, strongest, whatever you want. That you think can go against me. I know guys, I know you don't see my muscles. Let me show you my muscles just in case. Okay. Now you can pick the toughest.
I'm sorry, me.
Somebody pick someone.
Like,
Victor.
Oh, he's gonna wait for me after work already.
He's like, I've been waiting for this moment.
Who said that? Una vez, Victor. Let me take off this because when I bring them down, no quiero que estén. I don't want them to be all tangled up.
I don't want to break the technology.
Victor, don't get excited.
Victor's like taking out stuff.
It seems like you really, really want to be there. There's a problem here. So, Laredo's watching, so we might have to get on here in a second. So, you want to just touch a little bit? So, me and Victor are going to go against each other. Did you feel that strength? Yeah. Like a wall, right? Yeah. So, me and Victor are going to go against each other, and let's see who wins the battle, okay? So, if you want to take out your phones, your technology, and you want to prove that Victor did not make it through, and then you can do that if you want. So, ya con la pura mirada me está ganando este. Hold on, because I know your veins are popping up and mine are not. Ready, Victor? Okay, just. You see, I tiene miedo. Just imagine if I would take my shirt off. You guys ready? Are you ready? And 1, 2. Nobody's recording. Every time I do this, everybody's recording. Ahora sí, no, ya no lo saques ya ni modo. Okay. I'm buying time so you get nervous. Ready? 1, 2, go. Help! So help! Somebody help! Guys, help me! Somebody help me! Help! Ah, bien. Don't sit down. What am I trying to do here?
I have no idea.
You're gonna have the toughest thing in front of you. Do not be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask your neighbor for help. You're using all these technology resources in the classroom. Don't be afraid to ask and say, how do I turn on the computer?
YouTube.
How do I print? How can I use the internet? How can I? And you ask all these questions. It's not going to happen by yourself. It's never going to happen by yourself. Make sure you ask for help. Just like he asked for help. Thank you very much, guys. Have a nice evening. We'll see you Monday. Okay? I forgot to give out prizes. Oh my God! But you can come and get a lollipop if you want. All of you guys did your Nearpod assignment. This is right here. It's a sticker from Nearpod that was sent to you guys for using Nearpod. But you can put the sticker behind your phone and it allows you to put credit cards and so forth. So pick one up on your way out. Yeah, grab a lollipop and grab one of those right there. No.